Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and Apostate Prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Hey everybody, today we're debating whether or not OnlyFans empowers women, and we are starting right now with Diddley's opening statement. Thanks for being with us. Diddley, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, James. Hi, I'm Diddley. I'm a full-time YouTuber and Twitch streamer, and I also do OnlyFans, which is fantastic because today's topic is, does OnlyFans empower women? And since I'm the only woman in the room who does OnlyFans, I can tell you that I do feel empowered by doing it. Empowerment is all about autonomy, and we can delve a little more deeply into the ways that this kind of work can be empowering. Financial empowerment, obviously, being the first thing that comes to people's mind, but also regarding sexual agency, taking ownership of my work and content, having complete creative freedom. I personally wouldn't feel empowered making red pill content online, but maybe Rachel does, and that's fine because, that aligns with her values, whatever. She gets to create her own hours and be flexible so she can attend all sorts of debates and podcasts like this while she stays home with her family. Isn't that nice? I'm never going to tell her that she can't possibly be empowered by that simply because, red pill kind of conflicts with my own personal values and beliefs. My job isn't for everyone, obviously. And I'm not going to argue that every woman is going to find it empowering, but hopefully, me being here, I can offer some perspective as to why that is the case for me. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Thank you very much for that opening. If it's your first time here, folks, I'm your host, Dr. James Coons. I want to say, hope you feel welcome. No matter what walk of life you're from, Modern Day Debate is a fully neutral platform hosting only debates. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as we have many more debates coming up, including, as you can see at the bottom right of your screen, Andrew Wilson collides with Craig McNeil, the atheist, on Christian versus secular humanist ethics at DebateCon 5 in Newark, New Jersey. You don't want to miss it. Click on the link for tickets below to meet Andrew and Rachel, who will also be there in person. You don't want to miss it, folks. Check out that link right away. But with that, we're going to kick it over to Rachel for her opening as well. Thanks for being with us, Rachel.
Thank you, James, for having me. Thanks, Diddley, for being here and offering your side of the debate here. I do want to start by saying I wouldn't call myself a red pill content creator. If you go to my YouTube channel, I actually have several videos critiquing the red pill. I think they get some descriptors right, and I think they get some of their a lot of red pill content creators say they don't make prescriptions, but those who do, I tend to disagree with. So I don't really call myself red pill. I don't think the red pill community would accept me. They would say she's not one of us. So just wanted to clear that up. But Diddley did mention that usually when people think of OnlyFans empowering women, that the first thing that comes to their mind is financial empowerment. And I think this is one of the big points of this debate is going to be the fact that only a very small handful of content creators on OnlyFans or other sites like OnlyFans make a lot of money. It's the vast majority of subscribers subscribe to the top like 1.5% of creators. The vast majority of women on the platform do not make anything close to a living wage doing OnlyFans. For example, the average is somewhere between $130 to $160 a month that these girls are making, roughly 2,000 USD a year. If you ask me, that's a very, very small amount. You can't even pay like a car payment. You might be lucky to pay your phone bill. And to have pictures of you or videos of you naked, engaged in sexual activity for that much money, I would not consider empowering. And there's a lot of things that people might not realize about OnlyFans. For example, I think Diddley's argument is probably going to be, she said autonomy, bodily autonomy, the having control over your content and your full creative power all sounds very good. And we've heard this argument from a lot of like libertarian types when it comes to even things like drugs, where if we just make things safe and we destigmatize it, that it's going to really get rid of a lot of the downsides of certain behaviors. And what we're finding as we do this in societies around the world is that it's not panning out how we thought. For example, we have higher STDs than we've ever had before. 2021 was the highest STD rates that we've ever had recorded historically. And the CDC and the World Health Organization both say that's not just because we're detecting or testing more, but it is because there are more transmissions of STIs. So the whole sex education, tell everybody to use condoms, destigmatize sexual behavior is not helping with that. It's not helping much with abortion rates. It's not helping much with unwanted pregnancies, despite everybody having access to birth control and sex education. And we're seeing the same thing with OnlyFans. There's been this big argument from certain lobbying organizations and NGOs that if we make sex work legal and we destigmatize it and we can regulate it, we can make it safe, and all these downsides are going to magically disappear. And that's not what we see. What we see is that when we have things like OnlyFans, where now there are more women in the world engaged in sex work via OnlyFans than ever before in human history, according to Georgetown University. So what we're seeing is not that it's getting rid of the problems of sexually immoral behavior. We're seeing that when you expand the sexual marketplace, you may get, you could theoretically get some of the benefits that Diddley's talking about, but what we see is that we have massive downsides. So in countries where this is legal and you can have OnlyFans and there's free porn everywhere or paid subscription porn everywhere, you have higher inflows of human trafficking and sex trafficking. And on the OnlyFans site itself, there's been a lot of reports of underage kids being able to fake their IDs and get on there as creators. We're seeing a lot of e-pimps, basically, who run accounts and exploit vulnerable women, run their social media accounts for them, have chatters that chat on their behalf and things like that. So that, in addition to leaks, we have all the content being leaked all the time. Very famous creator named Nala Ray, her stuff's out there everywhere. It doesn't matter that she deleted her OnlyFans. You can find it very easily. So this is a lifetime decision that girls are making at 18 years old when a lot of them are still in high school. There was one just on the Whatever podcast the other day who started her OnlyFans while she was still, yes, she was 18, but still a high school student. And this is there forever. The internet doesn't go away. These things don't go away. And I think it limits women's empowerment to make good choices for themselves further down the line. So we'll just start there.
Thank you very much for that opening as well. We're going to kick it into the open dialogue. As I mentioned, folks, you don't want to miss it. Mrs. Wilson and Andrew Wilson will be at DebateCon in Newark, New Jersey. That's in just 2 weeks. So check that link for the tickets in the description box. With that, ladies, the floor is all yours for open dialogue.
Sure, I'll start. So the first thing you brought up was that the majority of women who do OnlyFans only make a small amount of money, which of course is true. But does this mean you concede that it is empowering for women who make a lot of money?
Depends on what you mean by the word empowered. If you think that, having a lot of money is empowering, you could say that. I don't think that as a whole for women it's empowering whatsoever. In fact, I think it, if you're a feminist, which I would guess that you are, the original goals of feminism were to eliminate this idea that women were sex objects and that prostitution was bad for women and it was exploitative. So I don't see how just moving it into the digital realm makes it any less exploitative, any more empowering. So how are you empowered by making a lot of money on OnlyFans?
Well, money intrinsically gives people power and freedom to do things that they want to do.
And so was I correct in reading in your bio on Twitter that you have a master's in something? Do you have a college degree?
No. Yes,
you
I do.
don't. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, you do have a college degree.
I don't have a master's. No, I have a bachelor's degree.
So is there no way that you could make money doing something that you went to school for instead?
No, there absolutely is. And I think that further goes to show that I'm doing this by completely my own volition. I'm educated. I could get another job if I wanted to, but I obviously wanted to do this more. It's more fun. It gives me more freedom. So that's what I chose to do.
So how long are you planning to be in the sex industry?
I'm not sure. I kind of just like roll the dice. I think I'll do it as long as I enjoy it. As soon as I stop enjoying it, or as soon as the money stops rolling in, I'll stop.
And then what would your plans be? Have you thought about what you will do with your life after that chapter of your life is over?
Not really. I have thought about maybe going back to study, but I don't know. I'll sort it out when the time comes. But I would like to circle back to the original point because you kind of did concede a little bit that if you're making a lot of money on OnlyFans, then you agree that that's empowering.
Well, I don't know. See, here's the thing. The reason I went down this line of inquiry with you is yes, you have a lot of money right now. Perhaps maybe you're one of the top earners and you do really well on OnlyFans. That might feel very empowering right now, but this is a very limited, short time in your life, and you're going to have a lot of years after OnlyFans. So let's say you have tons of longevity and you do this till you're 35, which I believe the average like actress in this industry is something like 8 to 11 years, and then they're done. One of the reasons is you age out of it pretty quickly. There's always a new batch of younger girls coming through, right? So even if you had a lot of longevity and you do this till you're 35, what if you live till you're 85 and you've got 50 more years? I mean, are you going to have health care from doing this? Are you going to have long-term
Well,
investments?
I
Are you
live in
going to have
Australia, so we have universal healthcare.
okay,
But I'm
so you're,
already put far ahead in a position that most people in their 20s would be by doing this work. So I'm not sure what the argument is that, like, once I turn 35, the money's instantly going to dry up and I'm not going to know what to do. That doesn't really
well,
apply.
Well, just because statistically sex workers are not known for having, 401ks and IRAs and doing investments and thinking ahead, it tends to be people who, like you, say, "Oh, I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do after this." And so they don't plan very well. And like I said,
I
if
mean,
you've
I
got,
have planned, haven't I? Because I've gone to university. So,
yeah, and why aren't you working in the job that you got a degree in?
because I don't need to nor want to. I would much prefer to do this
So
because, as I stated earlier,
what's
I
going to
get
make
better
you want
hours,
to
creative freedom.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So you think that all of a sudden when you're older, you're going to flip a switch and like join the workforce when you don't have a work history, when your content is searchable online, especially if you're doing well in this, you're probably pretty famous. People are going to recognize you. So, I mean, what do you think you're going to turn 30 and suddenly want to like join the workforce and start at the bottom and make, maybe a tenth of what you're making now and start working your way up at that point?
I mean,
So,
not really, but
so
like I
my
said, I'll already be so far ahead in life because of what I've chosen to do at this point.
Uh-huh. So you don't think that this is going to limit your future choices?
It might, like in terms of like I won't be able to become the Prime Minister of Australia, but that's not
Right.
something I ever intend on doing. So,
Probably won't ever be able to become the public face of a company unless you're still
I
in the
mean,
sex
I
industry.
technically am the public face of my own business. So,
Right. So you've kind of stuck yourself in the sex industry because you're a publicly recognizable face in the sex industry. So after this, your options for getting married are going to drastically shrink. Drastically shrink. There's only there you can find men who will get married after you've had a history like this, but it's going to be much smaller. Your career options are going to be much smaller unless you have really thought ahead and made very smart investments and done well with your money. It's going to drastically limit your ability to make money in the future.
so
So
if I told you I have made good investment choices, would you concede that it is empowering for me?
well, that's just one dimension of the things that we talked about. So it kind of like
Hmm.
empowering. I don't know. Maybe for you personally, on a temporary basis, if you want to
So
say
you
that you
agree that
feel
OnlyFans can
empowered,
be empowering for women?
I, I don't agree. But you're going to say that
But
that's how you
didn't you just
feel.
say it could be empowering for me?
I said from your perspective.
So it would be empowering.
If you say so, I suppose we could come back in 20 years and see how it's going at that point. You could ask Mia Khalifa and all of the girls who have quit OnlyFans and tried to move on with life how it's going. Most of them not going so great, most of them not doing so well, struggle with a lot of mental health problems and things like that. But again, empowering for women, we're not just talking about you, we're talking about women.
Sure,
And
but this is never going to be empowering for every single person who does it or people who don't do it. I don't think any job is empowering for every single person involved.
so if it only empowers a tiny handful of women who also the majority of people who leave commercial sex work later do say they regret it. Ton of surveys, ton of studies on this. How is it empowering women and not just maybe one or two outlier women who truly do
Do you
love
think
being
that
in the
being a
sex
business owner
industry?
empowers people?
Not necessarily. It depends.
You don't think being a business owner empowers people?
Like I said, it depends. If
It
you
depends, right? So if you
right.
start a business and it fails completely and you lose a bunch of money, that's probably not really empowering, right? But if you are a business owner and massively successful, financially independent, that would be pretty empowering, wouldn't it?
So you say you own a business. How much of your income goes to OnlyFans website?
As in
20?
how much of my income is from OnlyFans?
No, how
Um,
much does OnlyFans collect out of your
or
revenue?
how 30%. They take 30%.
Okay. And then do you have a manager?
No.
Do you have anybody who's a chatter for
A
you?
chatter? As in
Yeah,
they
like
write messages for me?
yeah.
No. I
Okay,
run everything myself.
so you're chatting. So all the guys who think they're chatting with you on your OnlyFans are actually talking to you.
Yep.
Sure they are. Okay,
They are
so let's
100% are. I've never hired anyone to do that for me. That's something I personally enjoy doing myself. So,
how many subscribers do you have, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know at the moment. I haven't checked in a while.
Is it like over 500?
Probably over 3,000.
Okay, over 3,000. And how many do you chat with?
I don't chat very often. No.
Okay, it's pretty vague, But let's just say you chat with 10% of your audience. That's like 300 guys. You're
10%
chatting with a woman.
of OnlyFans users do not message. It's a very small amount. I'd probably say maybe 1% of
Okay,
subscribers.
so maybe like
use the
30
chat.
guys.
Oh, more than that.
More than that. Okay. So okay, all right. We're gonna believe you. We're gonna believe that you're in here actually chatting with dozens of
I
dudes.
sure am. I take great pride in that.
Sure. That's what they all tell me. I've talked to a lot of gals.
No,
who do
I disagree
OnlyFans.
with the women who do that. I don't think they should be lying about who's chatting with them. I think if you are hiring someone to chat for you, you should like mark it in a signature at the end, kind of like an email. Hey, this is from Julie. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So you're a strong, independent creator. What do you say about the women who do have, because this is something that happens a lot. After COVID, a lot of very vulnerable women were recruited. Everybody out there, I don't know if you know, but OnlyFans has recruiters. A lot of them are female content creators who recruit women into the space for OnlyFans. A lot of these people end up later saying they've been exploited, that they had managers who were basically e-pimps running their stuff, running scams, chatting on their behalf, taking a large cut of what they make. So again, could it be the case that one or two or a few or a handful of these women are making a ton of money? They're doing it all themselves, like you claim to be. You don't have a manager, you don't have anybody running your marketing, you don't have anybody doing chatting for you, and you're massively successful. Let's say that's the case. The vast majority are not in that boat. The vast majority are not making good money. They are having a manager or an exploitative person taking a huge cut of their money. So, on the whole, does this empower women? I don't think so. And like I said, this is stuff that's going to be around forever. Eventually, especially if the more popular you are on these sites, you can't control who subscribes to you. So you might have this illusion that you're in control, but your neighbor can subscribe to you. Your boss later in life can subscribe to you.
I don't care. Could we actually circle back to the point about?
I think a lot of women would care, and we're not just talking about you. We're
I'm not
talking
most
about women.
What can I say?
What's that?
Anyway, so I'm not most women.
Well,
but
yeah,
coming back to the point
about
like being a business.
You're not like the other girls. You're very special, I can tell. So, but women in general.
Can we actually just go back to the point you made earlier about being a business owner can obviously be very empowering depending on the circumstance. Obviously, if your business isn't going well, it's probably not very empowering, aka like your OnlyFans flops. Yeah, they're probably not feeling very empowered. But in the case where it's going well, you're making money, you're enjoying what you're doing, even if you have a manager, they're still in control of their content. They've outsourced the work that they don't want to do, which is usually chatting, uploading, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and marketing, making,
can totally still be empowering.
Doing their social media and stuff. Yeah, okay, well, that could be the case, but you are in a special business where I looked at the statistics and it's only about 3 to 5 years of longevity, because what happens is when a new girl comes on the scene and she becomes popular, she gets a big following, consumers get tired of one girl after a certain amount of time and they're on to someone else. They tend to move on to a younger person, a newer person. And because we're dealing with a little something called hoflation, because there's 4.5 million creators on OnlyFans now. I mean, there's so many, it's so saturated as a market that we're seeing people like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips have to do more and more crazy and more extreme stunts in order to get their market share, right? That's why only a handful of the women really make a lot of money on this. So what do you think that that's empowering to be in a business where there's such a short lifespan, such a short shelf life on your popularity, and you're forced to have to do crazier and more extreme things to try to keep your subscribers or grow your subscribers? Do you think that's empowering?
Well, for me personally, I've never felt pressured to do anything that's out of my comfort zone. I've always done content that I feel comfortable with. That's why I say this is great in terms of like sexual agency and my autonomy. I control my content. So again, like, do you concede on the fact that OnlyFans is empowering for women like me?
No, because I have never done sex work. I've never done pornography, and I'm sexually autonomous. There's nobody controlling my sexuality. I've never had a
Same.
problem with sexual autonomy, and I didn't have to get into sex work in order to have sexual autonomy. So I don't
Neither
see
did
how
I.
that's a point in your favor. Couldn't I
Well,
have sexual autonomy without doing OnlyFans?
just earlier you were saying that you can see how it would be empowering for me, and now you're kind of backtracking from that a little bit.
You keep trying to hammer that because you think you really got something.
Well, because that's the entire point of the debate, is whether or not the debate is, does OnlyFans empower women? I'm saying it does.
You're saying it empowers. You're saying it empowers
kind of agreed
you
with that?
No,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
saying
a
it empowers
woman.
you, and that's an unfalsifiable claim. So if you're telling me about your emotional
Okay.
state, I can't falsify that claim. But what I can do is look at women as a whole in the industry, and I can look at the statistics. I can look at all the facts and figures about what happens to women in general when they enter commercial sex work. And those are the points that I'm making. I can't falsify whether or not how you feel, your mental state and what you claim your mental state to be. You could be lying, you could be telling the truth. I would have no way to verify it whatsoever.
Well, I
So
can tell you I'm not lying. So can we just, for the sake of the argument, assume
believe
I'm
you.
not lying?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, I believe you.
So would you
I have
agree
no
then
reason
that
to doubt.
OnlyFans is empowering for me?
Well, how long have you been in the industry?
OnlyFans in particular, maybe 4 years.
Okay, 4 years. So do you think that's a long enough time for you to say, yes, this has empowered me? Or do you think that 10 years from now, you might look back and have a different view on it?
I don't think I will have a different view on it.
Okay.
I'm a very sexually liberal person. I don't see that changing anytime or in the future.
So you think that your income you have right now is reliable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, statistically...
Again, I am a YouTuber. I have a pretty big channel, so a lot of the money is coming through other avenues, not just OnlyFans.
Okay. Well, that's probably smart, but on the whole, again, this is not reliable income for the vast majority of women who do this, and they're very pulled in by girls like you who make it seem very glamorous, make it seem like fast, easy money.
I don't think I do. I tell people it's not fast, easy money. Not everyone can do what I can do. Even in the beginning, I said this isn't going to be empowering for everyone. It personally just is for me.
Well, that sounds like you're making a concession in my direction then. If you're saying it's not empowering for everyone, just for me, and the debate topic is it empowering for women, not is it empowering for Diddley? So I want to hear if you have any arguments.
Well, no, there are many other women who do it who would also find it empowering.
Would you say that the majority of women who start an OnlyFans are going to leave the industry saying that it empowered them? Would you say that?
It's hard to say because obviously there's like very limited research on this, so I can't say for sure. But I think people definitely do overvalue how much is at stake when someone leaves OnlyFans. Obviously, if you start an OnlyFans account and you have 15 followers on Instagram, you realize it's not a lucrative option and you shut it down. Your content is not going to be out there online forever like you claim. These are people who no one knows and they can just quietly leave the internet. It's more creators like me who our content obviously is always going to be out there. I acknowledge that. I know that's the reality and I am okay with that. That's the risk I take.
Okay, so you're okay with it, but
Mhm.
in the opening, I did mention that there, like in the EU, for example, there's a whole task force that's been deployed in the EU to handle the human trafficking element of this, the sex trafficking element of this, because they found that this is basically a new avenue for traffickers and pimps to kind of get women into this kind of cam work. There's been some very high profile cases of people who
Like Andrew
seduce
Tate?
young women. I don't want to name any names, but I'm
Why is
saying
that?
there's been some, well, because I don't want to put James's channel in jeopardy or anything, and YouTube TOS
By
and things
talking
like
about
that.
Andrew Tate?
Well, it
I
just
think
gets
we
a little
talk about
sticky if you're
crazier
going to talk
topics
about,
here.
I just generally don't talk about people's personal cases, but
Okay.
there are lots of high profile cases where it's these people are getting kind of sucked in under false pretenses. They use the OnlyFans to kind of do IRL trafficking. And this is something that is a big enough problem that the EU has a task force looking at it and how people get kind of groomed into this type of work. And we do see higher instances of human trafficking in places where prostitution and pornography are legal and normalized. So do you think
Do
that
you agree
that's
that OnlyFans is the
empowering for
safest
women?
form of sex work?
I don't think there's any safe form of sex work. I
Can you
think it's,
elaborate on that?
yeah. So we've already talked about the fact that a lot of people experience content leaks. A lot experience content leaks. People can do screen grabs. There's even entire subscribers will create groups where they share content. They'll take screen grabs, downloads, and share it amongst themselves so that they can kind of basically split the cost. You never can be assured that your content is truly behind a paywall.
Sure.
And you
Okay,
can,
but even if you think it's not safe per se, would you agree that it is still the safest form of sex work that exists?
I don't know that it's the safest form of sex work, and I don't know that that
What
question
would
would be
be
relevant to whether
safer?
this is empowering. I don't think sex work empowers women at all. I think it's extremely harmful and
What
exploitative
would
to
be a safer form of sex work than doing OnlyFans?
not doing sex work.
Well, that's not the
That would be the
question.
safest thing. What would it matter if it's safer if it's still not safe?
I
That's
think it
not going to
matters
empower
because
women.
it gives women who are in precarious situations doing sex work on the streets or out with strange men, it actually gives them an option to do a much, much safer form of sex work from home in the safety of their own house,
So
online. They
can
don't
you
have to come into
guarantee,
contact with men physically.
if there are 18-year-old girls watching this right now, can you guarantee that they will be safe doing OnlyFans?
I can never guarantee anyone's safety in any situation
Right. So I don't think this question is really relevant as to whether this is empowering. If you're saying,
because
well,
I
it's
can't guarantee
safer,
someone's safety. I can't
it's a
guarantee your safety right
risky,
now in that room.
yeah, but me being a stay-at-home mom is not a risky occupation whatsoever.
Being
There's
a
not
controversial
risk.
YouTuber is.
That's not sex work. So you could
I
choose
wasn't saying
any
it is
type
sex
of,
work. I was saying there are unsafe elements to it.
I don't know that there's even unsafe elements to it other
I mean,
than
you
the
hear
fact
about
that
doxing, swatting,
yeah,
harassment. Do you
sure.
not think those are all things that come with your job?
Those things could come with a lot of different jobs, but
I agree.
nobody's going to have nudes of me that they could blackmail me with, or my nudes aren't going to be leaked and then I can never get a normal job again or something like that. It's
I
much
mean, you
much
can
different
definitely not get a
situation.
normal job again doing controversial content online. Do you
There is
think Andrew
no
Tate would have a good time getting a job at Macca's?
there is no risk of me being sex trafficked by doing what I do for a living.
What is my risk of being sex trafficked?
Higher than mine.
Can you explain
Higher
the
than mine.
process? Can you explain the process of how that would happen?
Well, what I've read in a lot of these reports that I've been doing research on is that a lot of girls get into this work, they become reliant on the income. The income is not stable, it starts to dwindle,
Okay,
and then they're
so I
forced.
asked how that would happen for me. I'm not
So
reliant on OnlyFans
if this
income,
happened,
so
yeah, but you know as well as I do that you could get kicked off YouTube tomorrow, right?
I
YouTube
have
has,
other streams of revenue as well, other than
sure,
YouTube.
okay, let's say we're not talking about you, we're talking about
No, I
women.
asked the question about me, and then you started
I don't
talking
care
about
about
other people.
you. The debate's not about
I
you.
asked the question.
You keep making this debate about you. It's not about you. The prompt is diddly empowered by sex work. It's our women. And I'm worried about women as a whole, not you. If you want to throw your life away,
If the debate
go
question
ahead.
was, does
But
nursing empower men? Do you think I'd be
I
talking
care
about men
about
who don't do
18-year-old
nursing
girls.
or men who are in nursing?
What?
If
Say
the
that
debate
again?
question was, does nursing empower men? Do you think I'd be talking about men who are in nursing or men who aren't?
I think we'd be talking about men who are in nursing, not you.
Okay, so we're talking
You're
about
making it
women in
about
OnlyFans,
you.
which I am.
You are one of
Yes.
millions.
And there
You
are many
one of
other
4.5
women who
million,
feel the same way.
and you are an outlier. You are
Oh,
an
so
outlier
you now
in
are
your
conceding
industry.
that OnlyFans can be empowering for women?
No, I'm not conceding anything.
Oh, so then why did you
That's
call me an
not a
outlier?
concession.
What am I
Because
an
that's
outlier
not the
for?
prompt. I know you're not a debater. I know you're used to showing everyone your butthole, but in a debate, when the
I
prompt
don't show my
is
butthole. I don't do full nudity on
the
OnlyFans.
prompt, okay, whatever you're showing, what the prompt is OnlyFans empowering for women, not for you. So I know you might struggle with language or something. Maybe it's not processing, but we're not talking about you. We're talking about women. And what you
Yes,
do is
which I am.
damaging to women. What you do is damaging to the rest of us.
To you? How am I damaging you?
Well, you're damaging to those of us who would like to be respected, those who would not like us blow up dolls. And we do see a lot of
Do you think that people view you
overflow.
as a blow-up doll because of me and women who do OnlyFans?
I think that we do see young men now treat women like prostitutes because they grow up watching this stuff because it's everywhere now.
Are you treated like a
So
prostitute?
let me talk. If we see
Sure.
young men thinking that all women want to be choked, slapped, you know, the stuff that goes on in the industry that you're in, they think that's normal. It's been normalized. And because
I don't think it should be normalized. I think we should have better sex education in schools to let people know that this is not normal.
You know, I've seen some descriptors of what your content is, and it's certainly not innocent. You know.
Before we go to,
Can you elaborate?
No,
I do.
I can't because we're on YouTube.
Without going into
Okay.
too much detail, I just want to return to, okay, so maybe what economists would call like externalities. I think Rachel is saying that even for women who don't do OnlyFans, like there might be a negative cost incurred by them because let's say, and I'm not trying to back Rachel, I'm just trying to bring this point up, Diddley, to get your opinion on it. The idea that maybe what if men, as a result of seeing women in OnlyFans as like sex objects, does it accidentally lead to men thinking of women as like sex objects or in some way have a kind of this associative effect that influences them to think negatively about women broadly?
Why should my existence be the determining factor in the way that men abuse women? Shouldn't the onus be on the men doing abusive behavior, not me?
Don't you think that normalizing sex work is good? Don't you think that's a good thing?
I think normalizing it is good. If it leads to women being safer, yes, sure.
Yeah,
Which I believe it does.
I'm glad you think this is very cute and very funny. So you think that it's a good thing in society. As I just said in my intro, we're seeing massive explosions in STD rates, hookup culture. The average young boy now is seeing porn for the first time at 10 years old. It's everywhere. It's very uncontrolled. Like I said, even on OnlyFans, there are minors uploading material because they're using fake IDs.
Yeah, which obviously shouldn't be happening.
There's also been several OnlyFans girls who have been the victims of stalkers, sex traffickers,
which
things
shouldn't
like this.
Be happening?
Right? Yeah, you're right. None of that should be happening. Do you think that
Why should the blame be on women who do OnlyFans rather than the rapists?
Because you're normalizing this behavior.
Normalizing rape?
No, you're normalizing the idea that women are there to be your little cum dumpsters or whatever you want to say. Sorry to use the crude language, James, but let's talk about what this really is. It's not wrapped up in a cute little bow. This is disgusting stuff. This is really degenerate, disgusting stuff. It affects people in real time. There are people who develop addictions, not just men, but also women. This destroys people's lives. And you are sitting there and saying, well, I'm only 4 years in and it's working out great for me. So I think it's empowering for women. And you're like, why should I give a shit what happens to other women? I have said
from the beginning that this isn't going to be empowering for every woman.
Then
in the same way that like doing YouTube, maybe. Do you do YouTube?
I don't do sex work, and this is about
that wasn't the question. Do you do YouTube?
You just said that this won't be empowering for all women. So
wait, can you please answer the question?
You just conceded the debate.
Do you do YouTube? I don't know what kind of content do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay, do you find it empowering?
No.
You don't find it empowering? Why is that?
because I'm sharing information. It doesn't give me any sort of power. I'm not monetized.
You don't make money from it?
No.
Okay. So why are you doing it if
I'm an
not for
author and
financial empowerment?
No, I don't do it for that. I do it because I am correcting the record on women's history. It's been hijacked by women's studies departments and told people believe wholesale lies about it. So I'm presenting the evidence and correcting the historic record. I'm trying to get women away from what you're doing. I'm trying to steer them away from a life
Wouldn't
of
you say that's something that gives you some sense of empowerment then?
No, it doesn't empower me. It gives me a sense of purpose, which is completely different. I'm not doing this because, well, my husband's the one who's the breadwinner and makes the money. This is something I'm doing because I have daughters and I'm going to hopefully have grandchildren, and I care about the world that they're inheriting. And I don't want it to be a world where women think, well, I'm 18 and I really don't want to work a job. So I'm going to just, start an OnlyFans, I guess, and see how that goes and hope for the best, because for the vast majority of women, it turns out really badly. And you're like, so it's not my problem. Why should I care? So who's the one who cares about
you
women?
shouldn't be jumping into something like this as soon as you turn 18. You should probably have like a little backup. I'd say the same thing to people who are wanting to start a podcast at 18. You should probably focus on other things because this most likely isn't going to work out. OnlyFans is supposed to be a platform for creators like me who are already established YouTubers, streamers, content creators. It's not for people who just randomly decide one day, hey, let me start taking pictures of my feet and see if that works out.
Yeah, so you've just again conceded that this isn't empowering for the vast majority of women who are going to try to do it. So I don't see how I haven't won the debate.
Well, no, you conceded from the get-go that it is empowering for me.
No, I never conceded anything. You made that up. You strawmanned my position, and you just invented the idea that I said you were empowered when I said you telling me your mental state is an unfalsifiable claim. It's not a concession on my part.
Okay, but for the sake of the argument,
can we assume that this is not going to empower most women who do it?
For the sake of the argument, can we assume I'm not lying, that I enjoy my work, I enjoy what I do? Would that then be empowering for me?
If it's empowering for you, that still has nothing to do with the debate prompt, which is it empowering for women? Do you understand the difference?
I understand that I am a woman who is empowered by this, and many other women who are in the same line of work feel empowered by doing it as well.
You feeling empowered.
Your issue seems to be with the amount of women who feel empowered.
It's with the terminology means something. Women means women. It doesn't mean one woman here or this woman over there.
Okay, so like I brought up before, if the prompt was, does nursing empower men, would you think I'm talking about men who are in nursing, or would I be talking about all men?
Yes, you'd be talking about men who are in nursing.
Okay, so we agree? Wait, I don't even know if we agree. You keep going back and forth.
We don't agree. So I'm trying to help you understand that when you say there's 4.5 million women on OnlyFans right now doing sexual content, and you say, well, it works out for a few of us and we feel empowered.
In the same way that being a business owner would empower maybe only the few who are at the top, whereas the people whose business fails probably wouldn't be so empowering for them.
That could be the case. It would have no bearing on the debate that we're having right now.
Well, it's the same thing.
Both those things could be true. You could say owning a business is not empowering for most business owners, and that would have no bearing on whether or not OnlyFans is empowering for women.
So would you disagree with the statement that being a business owner is empowering for people?
It doesn't matter whether I would concede to that or not, because it has nothing to do with the prompt.
Well, no, it does.
It's just a complete side tangent.
I hate to interrupt, but just to be sure I understand, like, Diddley, you wouldn't agree, correct? Like, you would say, no, I wouldn't say that most women are unempowered as a result of OnlyFans. Or would you say, like, okay, I admit most are, but there are a good chunk who still are, like, empowered?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I would like to hear a justification from you where you think you can prove or at least demonstrate some kind of evidence that OnlyFans as a whole is empowering for women as a whole. because I don't
So
think
again,
it
are we
is.
talking
I
about
think
women like who aren't even doing OnlyFans?
well, the prompt is OnlyFans empowering for women? It's not is OnlyFans
So
empowering
you're
for
talking
some
about even
women
women who aren't
or
doing
for women
OnlyFans?
on
Okay, hold on.
OnlyFans?
Just so sorry. Just pardon my interruption. Okay, so I had never even thought of that. There's no objective way to interpret the question correctly.
Right.
I was thinking more like women who are doing OnlyFans,
That's what
and
I was thinking as
by
well.
that I was thinking
Even if
though,
we go with
hold
that,
on.
yeah,
I was
okay.
thinking,
If
I
we
was
want
thinking
to go with that,
all right,
sorry,
one
go
sec.
ahead.
I was thinking a majority of them. So in other words, like Diddley, you wouldn't, just to be clear, like, are you willing to bite the bullet and say, well, I think there are some, like a pocket of women who do OnlyFans who are empowered by it, but I'd concede most are unempowered. Would you
Like
agree
I
with
said,
that?
I don't know because there's very limited research on this. I would think that anyone who enjoys doing OnlyFans, even if it was for a short-lived time, I would say they probably felt empowered doing it. Because even if people aren't raking in money, I know that there are a good chunk of people who just like to do it maybe to increase their self-esteem, put themselves out there, that kind of thing. So there's also that group of people who might not be making money, but it's more of a sexual liberation kind of thing for them.
So people with a voyeuristic kink, like
Exhibitionism, yeah.
okay, yeah, an exhibitionist kink. No, I don't think that people who are fetishists and people who have preoccupations with sex being on OnlyFans empowers women as a whole, and I don't
You
think
don't think having
women
like an
on
ideal sex life can be empowering?
it seems very clear to me that the vast majority of women who join OnlyFans and put up explicit content do not get much out of it and don't end up doing it for the
That
long
doesn't
term, and they do
necessarily
tend
mean
to
it's
regret it.
not empowering for them.
Well, okay, explain what empowering is. What you just feel dominant or what?
Well, no, it's like about autonomy and freedom to do what you want to do outside of kind of external pressures.
So like I'm
And
gonna
OnlyFans
rebel.
would be a
I'm gonna be
great
rebellious and
example
show
of
everybody
that.
my nudes. I'm gonna have sex.
Rebellious.
I'm gonna have sex on camera so that I can like stick it to the man and tell my dad that he can't tell me what to do. Is that what we're talking about here?
No, but I mean, like, if that's what someone wants to do, like, that's their sexual proclivity, why is that not something that could be empowering for them?
Well, even if it's empowering for them, it's not empowering for women as a whole. It's bad for society as a whole, and it really shouldn't even be legal. It really shouldn't be permitted whatsoever. If y'all want to be freaks, go do that in the privacy of your own bedroom like you have for the rest of all of history. You don't need to put this stuff out there and expose it to children and people who don't want to see it. I can't scroll in a Twitter feed looking for news without having to see some chick's tits bouncing everywhere because there's OnlyFans crap all over the place. We're tired of your porn crap
Are
in
you
our
against
feed. We're
Twitter's freedom
tired
of
of having to
speech?
look at it. Yeah, I'm not a free speech absolutist
Okay.
at all. I'm not a free speech girl. I think that there should be limits to that sort of thing. Absolutely. I think we should bring back
Like
decency
what? What else
laws.
should we ban? So I assume you're for banning porn outright?
Yep.
Okay, what else?
All forms of sex work should be illegal and we should prosecute both johns and hookers. I think that we should have decency laws. You shouldn't be able to walk around in public naked. You shouldn't be able to have your parade where you're simulating sex acts. None of that should be allowed. We should have a full ban on abortion.
If a
What
grown
else?
adult wants to jerk off to porn, why shouldn't they be allowed to?
Great question. The reason is because morality matters. There is such a thing as objective morality, whether libertarians and all of the people who want to, you can't tell me I can't coom crowd wants to say, these things do matter. And we are living in a hellscape that has been produced by the breakdown of the family and sexual liberation and feminism. So, if you want to continue to live in a world where most children are born out of wedlock, there's no nuclear families, people don't even bother with marriage, men don't even believe in it anymore because it's such a bad deal for them. And all the girls with college degrees are just doing porn instead of doing something that here's another big thing we never talk about with OnlyFans. You are not producing anything of value to society. You're not doing anything that's valuable. You're not doing anything that's helpful. You're not not contributing to anything except lining your own pockets and buying more of the little stuffed animals in your
I
background
mean,
there
we
and
can
more
have a
pretty
conversation
twinkly
about
lights.
how like orgasms can be helpful to society, reducing stress, bettering sleep, all that kind of stuff. But you probably don't want to get into that. But again,
No.
like I do other forms of content which undeniably add value to the world.
Oh, really? What are those?
Well, my ASMR channel for one.
Oh, your ASMR channel is of value to society.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can't
Do you know
wait to
the
hear the
benefits of ASMR?
justification. Tell me all about it. Tell me how you're
Uh,
bettering the world with
bettering
ASMR.
sleep, lowering anxiety, depression, insomnia, lots of great things.
So it's not just for creepers who get off on weird shit.
No,
Is
not at
that
all.
chat? Everybody in the chat knows that ASMR is for creepy weirdos who are into creepy weird stuff. You
No.
want to hear the gross mouth sounds? It's disgusting. It's
I've been watching
weird,
it
it's
personally for
perverted.
over 10 years now, so
Ugh. Well,
I love it. And I'm
maybe
sure there's
that's a
many
weird
people in the chat as well who love it, and they know
maybe that's a
what's
weird
up.
thing. Maybe that's a weird Zoomer thing that I'm not familiar with. But
Mm.
generally, the only people I see doing ASMR are girls in a
There's
hot
so many
tub
men doing it,
All
with
so
right.
their
many men,
boobs
and they're
out.
very
We'll have
popular.
we'll have
We
a
are a
separate
little bit
debate.
off topic.
We'll have a separate another time on ASMR. Any last topics that we haven't gotten to cover? You know, the obvious ones, you know, money,
Mm,
maybe like is fame, is there some sort of social status that women can get the same way, like if a male, like
definitely.
let's say our uh associate like Destiny, very popular guy, and a lot of people would say that him being internet famous, or at least like quasi internet famous, because it's like in the intellectual you know, debate world, that maybe that gives him a special type of social status that's helped him uh, in some ways. Do women have any of this social status if they become a famous OnlyFans or even quasi, you know, partially famous?
Well, James, that was a really terrible
Undeniably, yeah.
example because Destiny is basically a sex worker at this point. We've all seen way more of Destiny than we've ever wanted to see in our life. His stuff's all leaked out there too. So he's basically
You
the
looked it
same as
up?
an OnlyFans girl at this point.
You're looking up some porn, Rachel.
I don't have to look it
Naughty.
up. It's just plastered everywhere. Nobody's had to look for it, unfortunately, just like all the other smut that's out there floating around. But it's there, so I'm just saying like Destiny might be a bad example, but no, this is actually another thing I hate about OnlyFans because it used to be that in order for a woman to be famous, she had to have something very special, unique. She had to have a talent. You had to be a really great singer, a fantastic actress, a really beautiful woman, like strikingly beautiful, very, very smart, really, really good at something in order to be famous. Now there's girls who are like, I'm going to screw 1,000 guys in 24 hours. And that's how they get famous. Again, how is this good for women? Do you think that's good for women that now, like the girls who are growing up and watching things, they're like, I guess if I want to be famous, I have to twerk or I have to be naked or I have to be sexualized in some manner or else I guess I just have to get a normal desk job. And that seems boring. All the cool girls are on Instagram and OnlyFans, and that's not good for women, obviously. Nobody thinks it's good for women.
I mean, I think the things that you're specifically mentioning are like a lot of those things are for shock value. Like, what's her name? Bonnie Blue or something, who
Yeah.
slept with like 1,000 men, that kind of stuff. Obviously, that's not the average experience on OnlyFans. So most people are just doing what they feel comfortable with.
Yeah, but
I don't think most people would be comfortable sleeping with 1,000 men on camera.
I'm sure they wouldn't, but what's happening, I'm watching this happen before my eyes that with hoflation, with this total saturation of the market where there's so many girls doing porn now, more than ever in the history of the world. We've never had this many women engaged in sex work ever in history, and to think that's not going to deeply affect society going forward is stupid. It's obviously going to have a major effect. And what's happening is, in order to stand out from the crowd and be one of the handful that really gets famous and gets all the money and the clout and, you know, all the things that everybody wants from OnlyFans, you have to do more extreme things, or you have to have a gimmick. You have to do something to stand out from the crowd. So they are starting to do more and more extreme things. Like this girl, Lily Phillips, she's planning for a backdoor bang gang. I'm trying to be YouTube friendly here. I'm trying to mix up my words so that it's a little bit less awful. She's taking HIV preventative drugs to prepare for this. And there are people watching this. There are young girls watching this going, oh, because she does tell people, oh, I've got a fancy car. I have the fanciest flat in London. I can buy myself whatever I want. I just bought my third house. And they're thinking, well, I guess that's one way to do it. And I don't think that's good for women.
Do
I
you
don't
really
want that
think
for women.
young women are watching Bonnie Blue fuck 1,000 men and going, I think I could do that?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
And I can prove it. And here's how I can prove it.
Okay.
10 years ago, when OnlyFans started, there were not very many creators on it doing pornography. As this has become normalized, and as there have been certain breakout stars, certain girls that have become like Iggy Azalea, she was a rapper pop star. She now just does OnlyFans because she makes over 9 million doing that. Cardi B makes a lot of money on OnlyFans. She doesn't even have to put up too much explicit stuff. But yeah, this is very mainstream and very popular, famous women.
Wait, so how does that prove that young women are watching it and going, oh, now I should fuck 1,000 men on camera?
Because young girls follow whoever is popular, whoever's getting the bag, getting the money, getting the fame, getting the attention. They see that. And if they see, well, a lot of these girls are doing OnlyFans. And
these women have been massively chastised online. I don't think that's reality whatsoever, that people are watching this and going, oh, this is something I could do. She's getting blasted on every social media platform alive.
Yeah, but it's contributing to the normalization, and now she's a celebrity. And unfortunately, a lot of people will do whatever it takes to be famous and get money, and they're not thinking about, they don't care if it's negative attention. It's just like when toddlers throw a tantrum, they'd rather have negative attention than no attention, and so a lot of them are going to do it. Yes, this is becoming normalized. Yes, this is becoming part of the culture. It is already part of the culture. We're already here. We're already in the dystopian future where my husband just was on a podcast with a girl who was like, yeah, I dropped my OnlyFans while I was still in high school. I started thinking about it when I was 15. And she literally said, I'm watching all these famous women make bank and become famous. They can get plastic surgery, and I want that. They can live in a house on the beach, and I want that. I don't want to work a wage slave job my whole life. So I started planning early. There was another girl on the podcast who got a BBL and a boob job the day she turned 18 so she could start OnlyFans, because she was like, I don't want to be a normie desk job worker. I don't want to have to go to college for 4 more years. That sounds boring and like a lot of work. And I want
you probably shouldn't be doing that.
They probably shouldn't, but this is the result. It matters what we do, and it matters what we popularize in the culture. And to say it doesn't, and to pretend like, well, it shouldn't matter what I do. It does matter what you do. And that's what you realize when you get older. That does matter what you do.
Do you think, like, if your job, like seeing the risks that it comes with that I mentioned earlier, so like doxing, stalking, harassment, swatting, all that kind of stuff, do you think like no one should do YouTube because those risks involved?
If they're doing it for something that they
or
think
is there like
important,
a specific subset of people who, despite those risks, the positive outcomes greatly outweigh the risks, so they're willing to make that a career?
Well, I would say it depends on why you're doing it. So if you're doing it for the reasons I am, and for the reasons a lot of my friends are, which is we care very much about the next generations coming up, and we want to try to mitigate the damage that's been done by people like you and content creators like you, then yes, it's worth the doxing. I've been harassed. I've been doxed. I've been swatted. But it's worth it to me because I care about my 4 daughters and their daughters and their daughters and the world. Do you
think no one should be doing YouTube because you've been doxxed?
No, most YouTubers don't ever experience doxing. It's only if you're doing stuff like politics, if you're speaking out against degeneracy, if you are doing debates and things like that. There's like niches in the internet where you could have that, but it's not the same thing whatsoever as being a sex worker. It does not have the same effect on the culture.
It's not. I'm just trying to kind of draw comparisons between the fact that obviously there's risks involved with what I do. I try to make people aware of those risks. I don't think people should be turning 18 and jumping into this without having kind of like a backup plan. But it's still a great option for people like me who are like very, very sexually open. They want to have complete control over their content, creative freedom, flexible hours, and make a lot of money doing it.
So you could do all those things in private, but the only thing you'd be missing is the fame and the money. So the reason you're doing it is
money is a massive aspect of empowerment. Yeah. Would you agree?
Well, to you it is. To me, it's not.
Well, no, I think like by definition, it is a big aspect of empowerment.
There's okay, you could say money is an aspect of empowerment, sure, but why does it mean that you have to do sex work to get money? Why couldn't you
I don't. It's
why
just
couldn't you
what I
have a
want to
career
do.
that's meaningful, or why couldn't you marry a really
Meaningful.
nice man who makes good money? Like
Well,
there's a
I'm
lot
the
of
one who
ways.
gets to decide what's meaningful to me, don't I?
You as an individual, yes, you can do that, but what we're talking about is the
Which kind of
effect
means that I kind of get to choose what is empowering for me as well.
but we're not talking about you. So do you have an argument as to how OnlyFans empowers women as a group?
Well, again, we're talking about women who do OnlyFans.
Okay, tell me
I am a
how
woman who does OnlyFans. I find it empowering, and I know a lot of other women who do as well.
But the other 99% who never really make anything off of it and just regret it, how are they empowered by it?
Again, I think this is completely overblown. A lot of people talk about the people who join OnlyFans, it flops, they delete it. There are almost no repercussions for doing that. Their content is not going to be out online. They don't ever have to think about it or worry about it ever again.
Even if you never have to worry about it again.
It's not going to ruin future job prospects.
Right. Even if you're only on it for 6 months, you delete it, nobody ever even saw it. Are you empowered? No.
Maybe it was like a short stint for them and they felt like in that short time they felt really sexy and powerful and hot. Maybe. I'm sure there are a lot of women who feel that way.
Okay, this is a question I have to ask because I thought you were going to have arguments and you don't. So I'm going to ask this instead. Why can't you be sexually open and enjoy your sex life and your sexual autonomy with your boyfriend in private?
A better question is why can't I be sexually open?
I'm not
outside
but why
of the bedroom.
Why do you want that? Why do you want
because
other people
I'm an
to watch
exhibitionist.
you?
I love it.
So what I'm getting is you went to college, you got a degree, you decided that you're lazy and you love attention, and so you're doing this.
Lazy?
Great. Good job. Good job. I'm sure you won't regret this later in life.
If what I'm doing is lazy, I would say what you're doing is lazy as well. Being a YouTuber is piss easy.
Doing what?
Being a YouTuber. A podcaster.
I'm not well, sweetheart, that's because I'm not a YouTuber. I raised 5 children and wrote a best-selling book. And if you had to live one day in my life, you wouldn't make it to breakfast, okay? Some of us do work hard and some of us do actually care about our lives beyond, hey, look at my pussy, everybody. Who wants to watch me get fucked
Again,
today?
I don't do full nudity on OnlyFans.
Then how are you an exhibitionist? What are you showing us exactly then?
Everything but that. I do a lot of audio erotica as well, if you know what that is.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know what that
Probably
is.
a good way to get around your porn ban too, because it's just the voice.
Oh, we could ban that too. You ever heard of the Comstock laws? Oh yeah. If I have anything to say about it, we're bringing all that shit back, and none of this crap's going to be out there anymore. And everybody's tired of it. You know that? We're all just sick and tired of your stupid porn. We're all just tired of it.
Who is we?
Everybody. Chat poll, put out the chat poll, ask everybody if you're just sick and tired of every single
What about all the people who are subscribing to OnlyFans girls then?
Well, listen,
there's always in the chat too. There'll be a lot of them that go to my OnlyFans after this and subscribe, probably from your audience too.
There's always a lot of simps around every corner. And
so then why did you just say we're all tired of it? There's
all of us
massive amount of people who are
addicted people are very tired of it. And you know what? The people who are addicted to it are tired of it too. We're all sick of it. We're just sick of having to see porn everywhere. Nobody cares.
Maybe you should get off the internet.
Maybe you should get off the internet.
I don't have a problem with seeing porn though.
I'll tell you what, if you log off forever, I'll log off forever.
If I had a problem with seeing porn, the last place I'd be is Twitter.
Good for you. If you log off forever, I'll log off forever. How about that?
No, I'm good.
Interesting.
No,
Before that, we do need to go to the Q&A. That was a good time. Folks, thanks for your questions. We do have a lot already. A lot of people are really curious. Want to say a couple of quick housekeeping things. First, folks, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't yet, check out the link in the description box. As you can see behind me, Andrew Wilson will be at DebateCon 5 and Rachel Wilson. We are working on, I haven't mentioned this yet, Rachel, but a potential debate for you. Whether or not it's, but anyway, we'll talk about that.
All right.
Check out the link in the description box, folks, for Newark, New Jersey.
James, I have a question. Is it going to
Yes.
be another prostitute? Because as I said, I have prostitute fatigue at this point.
Isn't that your whole gig, just talking to
Oh,
prostitutes?
no, it's not. I just do this once in a while, you know, to help the world out a little bit.
Once in a
I'm
while,
usually
really?
arguing with
Really
feminists
downplaying
and
it.
doing politics, but I couldn't be more tired of prostitutes. They're just everywhere. It's so oversaturated. Can we just not with the
Wow.
I
prostitutes
mean, you literally envelop
anymore?
yourself in the entire community. You're constantly
Well,
seeking out
it is
prostitutes to
fun to
talk
tell
to.
you guys to go away and to log off and to stop being degenerates. I do enjoy that part of it. So I guess there's that. You're right. You're
So
right.
you're not
You
tired
got
of
me
it.
on
You
one
love it.
point. You got me on one point. I'll
Hmm.
give you that one point.
Are OnlyFans creators prostitutes?
Yes.
How do you define prostitute?
I'll defer to
Somebody who
you.
sells sex.
Sure.
Are we talking about selling sexual intercourse?
Any type of sex. If you're
Can you
Someone who
define
offers
sex?
sexual services?
Sexual services? Well, then, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But obviously, if it's physical sexual services, you'd say only in the cases of this character that recently had relations with 1,000 men.
Well, no, because I would. Strippers are sex workers, even if they're just on a pole and not touching anyone, right?
But are they prostitutes, though?
Well, prostitute for, I guess, like, colloquially, we refer to it as people who are, like, having sex with men for money, right? But if you want to refer to it as anyone who's doing sexual services, like, is a prostitute someone who takes photos of their feet and posts it online?
I would say if you're selling sex or sex acts of any kind, you're selling fat material.
Well, that is a sexual service for foot fetishes.
Yeah.
So you would call someone taking a picture of their feet a prostitute?
Yeah. If you're doing it because you know it's a sexual product that you're selling, yeah, I would.
Wow. Now, we're going to jump into these questions. I want to say, folks,
Wow.
that link for DebateCon 5 is linked in the description box. Come out and meet Mrs. Wilson and Mr. Wilson. I got to be honest, folks. I don't want to play favorites here. Diddley has always been a good sport. She has come on and debated I Hypocrite, a cranky fellow, but we still like him. She's debated Alex Stein. She's come in and, you know, she's gotten all these people who come at her hard, and she has been a good sport. She's never, I have to
Well,
give you
James,
street cred.
she's used to people coming at her hard, James. So of course she. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I couldn't help myself. You set me up for that. I had to. You set it up, James. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. She is a good sport.
She's right. She's right.
She is a good sport. I'll agree.
But I do want to say, in addition, the reason I was saying that is that this way it wouldn't look like I was playing too much of favorites, is that I have to be honest. I just talked to Andrew today, and then Rachel. They have been so supportive of Modern Day Debate and so forgiving. And I have worked with a billion different content creators. There's some news that's going to drop about the conference tomorrow that's going to be really big, and it's going to be controversial and everything. We don't hold any grudges, and I have to give credit to Andrew and Rachel for never holding a grudge. I'm starting to see things their way, and so we are very pro. You can check out Rachel's link in the description box. I'm also going to add Andrew's The Crucible. This is a premier debate platform. It's kind of Andrew as the spotlight, although appropriately so, because Andrew has algorithmic power that I have not seen in the longest time on YouTube. I'm not exaggerating. So, but we do appreciate Andrew and Rachel. We do appreciate Diddley for being a good sport, a punching bag, and nonetheless just never complaining. You've never complained or gotten all upset. It's impressive. Even Lord says, "Why do males keep arguing for prostitution?" I don't understand. I don't know if they mean that whatever podcast. Are there ever any males that argue for prostitution?
The only time I remember that is two guys who were in the industry debated Andrew, and they were in favor of it. But they were himbos, so it didn't turn out so good for them.
That's weird. This one from Mary C. Mercy says, Rachel, drop your OnlyFans. I know you've got one. No OnlyFans. This one, even
nobody
Lord says,
wants it either, by the way. Just saying, and that's fine.
Even Lord says, do you believe fast money causes slow problems? I've never heard of that phrase. Either of you?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yes, I have.
Generally, it's like
What?
easy come, easy go with money, right? Not
Yeah,
always, but
easy
in
go
general.
would be a fast problem. You lose it
Yeah,
quick.
this is a
What's a
massive
slow
cope that
problem?
people do about OnlyFans because they love to imagine that all this money coming in is just going to dry up instantly. It's the
But
only way that they can like concede with the fact that they're working their 9 to 5 while we're doing something we love and making a lot of money doing it.
fast money leading to slow problems. I think if the money leaves fast, that's a fast problem. So a slow problem, what would the slow problems be? What do they mean? Even Lord let us know in chat. They also said, could you steel man each other's argument in one sentence? Take two if you need to.
I would steelman Diddley's argument as OnlyFans is empowering for me.
Interesting.
Okay, and I would probably still man Rachel's as OnlyFans is never empowering for anyone.
Okay. This one
Fair.
coming from Mercy says college degrees, while great to have, doesn't necessarily equate to bigger paychecks. Look at Speed and Mr. Beast.
Okay, statistically it does though.
L.I. says empowers a few women and probably disempowers the rest. It teaches women to rely on thirsty men rather than develop themselves, and looks are time limited.
I
would
would say
agree.
it's neutral for most women, especially the women who aren't even involved in OnlyFans. It doesn't affect them in any way.
Oh, even Lord said the slow problems that they were talking about would mean reputation destruction in this case.
Mm.
So I don't know if that'd be
I've
slow.
I've touched on that a couple of times throughout this. The reputation destruction would only really be applicable to the large creators like myself, who I know for a fact my content's always going to be out there. But that's obviously a risk I've happily taken because the rewards outweigh the risks massively. The people who are smaller creators that are only on it for a short time decide it's not for them and they get off, their reputation isn't going to be damaged whatsoever.
This is interesting. Let's see. This one coming in from Mercy says most of the people hating on OnlyFans are subscribed to them. I've wondered about this because I've heard that on the show, whatever. I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that like a lot of these guys that love, Andrew Wilson going on whatever podcast and laying the smackdown on these OnlyFans girls. I've heard allegedly a lot of these people that are simultaneously cheering for Andrew or anybody who is kind of setting these OnlyFans people straight are actually subscribed to OnlyFans. Is this true? Is there
A
a
lot
lot of
of them
these?
are. I probably wouldn't say it's the majority. A lot of them are, but without a doubt, almost all of them are watching porn. They love sex workers, even if they claim they hate them. They're all
Well,
watching porn.
I would kind of agree. Like, look, porn is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. Way too many people are consuming it. They probably shouldn't be consuming it,
Yeah, all the
and
chatters are probably watching porn, like within the
probably.
last week.
But I think that
But they
people
want to
do.
come in here and say how it's a sickness to society. Wouldn't you be
Well,
part of the problem?
I think you
Get
can.
your dick
So
out of your
like,
hand.
so here's what I would say to that. There's a lot of people who get hooked on opiates, right? They get break an arm or something and they get some pain pills because they had to have a surgery and they end up hooked on opioids. They would still, even when they're struggling with their addiction, probably say, don't get on this stuff. It's really bad for you. It shouldn't be given out like candy. We have an opioid problem in this country. Those two things don't necessarily conflict with one another. So it's not always so easy because we know that like the brain is very plastic and that human sexuality is very dynamic and can be very much affected by visual stimuli. So if you start watching it at a young age, it can have a profound effect on your development and your sex life. I have a whole piece on this on my Substack about how this affects the transgender phenomenon specifically. If you want to read that, go to rwilson.substack.com. So people may be addicted to it and hate it at the same time. And there's probably
What
a
about
lot
all
of
the
people who
people
feel that
who
way.
aren't addicted and are just casually watching it and it's something that they enjoy?
I mean, that's going to happen too. I
We should
still
be
don't.
dictating what grown adults do with their genitals?
I think that people can have sex in their house with their spouse, and I think that we should promote. Are we going to be able to ever like eradicate sexual immorality? No, but we can greatly reduce
Is
it.
masturbation sexual immorality?
In my view, it is, yes.
You're against wanking.
Yes.
That's wild.
It's not wild. It was actually the normal position until
So even if they're not watching porn, you're just against it. You're against all masturbation.
You're committing a sin against yourself, right? So I'm a Christian. That's not what it's for. Sex is for bonding between couples and for making babies. It's a part of marriage. It's called the marriage bed. So yes, from my view, that's what it's for. I think we should encourage people to get married young, have big families, and have really wonderful, healthy sex lives with their spouse in private. I think that should be normalized, and I think everything else should be stigmatized. I wouldn't necessarily say all of that stuff should be criminalized. I do think porn should be, I think prostitution should be. Things like masturbation, you're going to obviously not criminalize, but we should stigmatize those things because they're not good, healthy human behaviors. There's a lot of people who have problems with masturbating too much. So I don't think it should be normalized or like we should be.
Masturbation is perfectly healthy, just to be clear.
I've heard all of the arguments on that, and they're very weak.
But I mean, I'm sure you like with everything, you'd say that too much masturbation, but you'd say, but of course that's true with everything, like water and everything.
Too much of anything is bad.
Okay. Merc C says, unfortunately, you don't need to have nudes with AI.
Well, this is another thing that people are talking about. They're wondering if all the sex workers are going to be out of a job if AI gets good enough. We're not there yet. And
we're never going to be there. Louis Vuitton's always going to exist, even though fakes are ripping them off every day.
Well, and you're always going to have what we have now because of feminism is we've got a huge segment of the male population that is not going to ever get a woman, unfortunately. Because of dating apps and things like this, 95% of the women are after about 10% of the men and don't think the rest of them are good enough for them. This was not a historic problem we had. You used to, as a woman, choose locally from the men that were around you, and you picked the best one that you could get in your local area. And so people paired up pretty easily. That's all been thrown completely out of whack by things like OnlyFans, hookup culture, dating apps. All of this type of smutty stuff has thrown everything out of whack. So it's a problem.
Do you think OnlyFans is preventing men from getting wives?
I think it has contributed to porn brain, to hookup culture, to dating apps, to women believing that they are, because they can get flown out by some rich guy to have things done to them, they think that they are like in a different league than they truly are. They think that a guy who's on par with them is not good enough anymore. So yeah, this is like a big problem.
Damn, where's the accountability for the men? You guys are always big on accountability for women, right?
No, I think there's accountability for both. Most women who are born now, like you and I, we were born into a feminist world. We were born after the sexual revolution, after feminism, and we have to deal with the hand that we're dealt. So I'm not blaming it on all women. I'm not saying all women are bad or anything like that, but I'm saying that technology has thrown off the dating game and thrown off how women especially perceive themselves. So women are using filters and makeup and posting pics and angles and lighting. And so if they can look like an 8 in their picture, they think they're an 8, and they're swiping in. They get like what, 100 replies on a dating app for every 1 reply that a man gets or something like that. It's not women's fault. It's just a result of the technology being what it is, that it throws everything off. It drastically skews women's perception of men and men's perception of women, and it's thrown everything into chaos. So I'm not blaming women. I'm just saying that's how it is.
I don't want to, let's see, I do want to get to as many questions as we can. Even Laura says, is it smart to start an online lewd account when there is a diligent group of men that hack into each payment website to leak paid content for free?
Well, I mean, is it a good idea to be, what, can you repeat that?
Right, basically, they're saying like there are these organized, you call them online syndicates that are trying
like
to
hackers?
Yes, they're hacking.
I know, I better get off the internet.
They're
hackers exist.
Products to leak it. I don't know if it's just out of pettiness. They want to make sure the content.
You don't need to be a hacker to leak someone's OnlyFans content. I'm confused.
Let's
Do they
see.
mean like personal, like sexting images?
I don't know. I think maybe they just mean like there are men that are petty and they get satisfaction out of signing up for what, like $5 and getting the nudes and then saying,
Right.
"Hey, I'm gonna screw this content creator by putting them out there for free for everybody."
And they're asking how I deal with that?
I think they're saying like, is it smart to start this kind of lewd account when you can have people that start stealing it and
Yes,
giving
I'm
it away for
rich.
free?
It's very smart, yes.
Verse C says,
And all the top creators are paying DMCA takedown companies to take leaks down every day.
F Hardback says, there is no negative cost. She doesn't need a normal job, quote unquote, ever again if she's already a multimillionaire by 20. Why are you blaming her rather than criminals committing crimes against her? I think it's for you, Rachel.
I don't know that I'm blaming her for people committing crimes. I'm saying that this is how the world works and that there are leaks and that, again, statistically, only a very few of these girls are going to make millions. And a lot of them who do make millions early on aren't always so great about, managing the money or whatever. Now, if a few of them become millionaires and have no regrets, I suppose that's fine. But I thought we were talking more about women in general. So.
This one from Mike says, question to Rachel and Diddley. Would you debate the legendary debater Manar Reports in a one-on-one debate?
Who?
On what? I don't know who that is.
Haven't heard of them. Manard Reports.
I mean, I'm down. It just depends on the topic. I don't know.
I guess same
Mer-
for me.
Mercy says, in other words, OnlyFans can be empowering if you're successful.
In the same
IMO.
way I said being a business owner can be empowering if you're successful. That's
They said,
kind of the way I'm going with that.
in my opinion, it's completely subjective. But
Mm.
most, would you say that, well, I put it this way. Diddley, would you say most women are empowered by becoming OnlyFans creators?
Again, like there's so little research on this, so I don't know for sure, but I would say if they are enjoying it and they continue doing it, I would say that that is empowering for them.
Justin Henley says, W. Rachel, but to Diddley, if I am a teacher with only enough time to teach 15 girls about 5 job options, should I teach them about OnlyFans, knowing that
No,
1% would actually succeed with that?
no.
Nar.
Uh, are you asking me if we should be teaching school children if like they should be doing OnlyFans? No, you shouldn't be teaching children to do porn. What kind of question is that?
Why not? It's cool and awesome and empowering.
I'm an adult. Some things that are cool and empowering for adults aren't cool for children to do, kind of like drinking and other things like that. Partying,
We said
sex.
INB4 breakfast Q. Is that they want me to ask that question about how would you feel if you had not eaten breakfast today? Is that what they're saying? Okay. Diddley, how would you feel if you did not eat breakfast today?
I'd probably feel fine. I don't normally eat in the morning, so I'd probably feel pretty good.
Okay. Mercy says, Rachel, can you please do a countdown? Almost done. What does that mean?
What?
I don't
Countdown?
know.
I
Some of
don't
these
know.
people, I'm like, what are you guys, what are you on? Shan
Oh,
Nair says, me. I know it's true because me and I also make money. The whole argument from Diddler is, quote, I am a serial unaliver. Wait, she hasn't murdered anybody. I'm a serial unaliver, and
That you know of.
that's true. I feel empowered by unaliving people. Therefore, it's empowering. Diddley, a
Yeah,
lot
so
there.
empowerment is about autonomy, maximizing autonomy, so long as it doesn't impede on other people's autonomy. Murder would impede on someone else's autonomy, so I wouldn't call that empowering.
You got it. Kenneth, a step. Your question's too weird. Funny Farm says, F sakes, as Rachel has said, this prompt is not about you, Diddley. Do you feel empowered by being a part of an institution contributing to the cultural rot of the West and proper society as a whole?
So when I'm talking about myself, I'm also talking about the many other creators just like me who are very successful on OnlyFans, obviously enjoy what they're doing and find it empowering. So I'm talking about my perspective because I'm one of those women. And I don't think that, the fact that not everyone is going to find it empowering, just completely, we should disregard the fact that it obviously is empowering for some women, including me.
You got it.
And what was the last part of that question?
They said, we feel empowered by being a part of an institution contributing to the cultural rot of the West and proper society as a whole.
Yeah, I obviously don't think it's contributing to the rot of society. I would think like red pill content is actually more so than OnlyFans ever will.
You got it. Elizabeth Torrey says, Diddley, the average cost of OnlyFans is $7. If men find out that the girl they're considering marrying was willing to show any dude on the internet her nudes for $7, do you think most men will think higher or lower of her?
Do I think most men would think higher or lower? Your mic was peaking a little bit, sorry.
Yeah,
You're
sorry about
putting
that.
a little close to your mouth there.
They said,
Do I think most men would think higher or lower of them?
yeah, I think they're saying like if most men, let's say they have a girlfriend and they're like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting serious with her, and they're like, oh, she was used to be on OnlyFans, and average subscription is $7, so that means that you could put it in one way. You could frame it as she was willing to kind of send her nudes to any dude that would give her $7.
Right.
And he's saying, do you think that would most men would think more highly of her or less highly?
I think it's mostly dependent on where you live, I'd say. Like if you live in Sweden or Australia, it would be neutral or maybe even a positive thing because we're like very sexually liberal people. If I lived in America, it'd probably be a bad thing, but I don't want most men anyway. I'll let my partner know that most men don't want me in America.
But did you say Sweden?
Yeah.
Isn't Sweden more egalitarian?
Aren't they more egalitarian? Like they're
Yeah.
more liberal, yeah.
Interesting. Well, but there's an interesting, I'm not doing it, I'm not taking sides, but I want to bring up something that's pretty interesting. In egalitarian societies, strangely, the conventions of like what you expect from males and females, like in terms of gender norms, actually ironically become more polarized.
Yeah.
Like, are you saying like more people are more extreme to the positive ends and more extreme to the negative ends?
You could say that men are more masculine and women are actually more feminine. So, for example, like men in egalitarian societies will usually like you could put it this way. Men on average are usually lower in agreeableness. Here in America, or we'll say Australia, they're
Hmm.
lower in agreeableness in terms of their personality, and they're also lower on extroversion. So they're more introverted. And then when you
Hmm.
go to more egalitarian societies, maybe surprising to a lot of people, the research finds that actually rather than thinking like, oh, I would guess that the personality differences between men and women are small, or actually you find that actually men in these egalitarian societies are even more introverted and even more disagreeable. They're, in other words, even more stereotypically masculine in their personality traits. The reason I bring that up is just because their sexual mores may not be what you'd expect. They might actually expect something different. I'm just possibility. You've heard
Yeah,
that
I mean,
idea
I'm
at
just
least in the
talking
first
about
place?
my experience from like being in Australia and like people are very like sexually liberal, and I don't think it would matter as much here. But then again, even if most men thought of it as like a negative, it wouldn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to my partner. So
Gotcha. Jordan Lofgren says, why should women feel empowered? I don't know
I
what
never
that
made the
means.
claim that they should. I think you should do whatever makes you feel empowered.
Yes,
Might not
says
be OnlyFans.
TSA, the exception isn't the rule, unquote. Something leftists fail to understand. The stats exist. Most women on OnlyFans aren't gaining meaningful economic quote unquote power in return for the lifelong socioeconomic repercussions. Shocking, it even has to be said.
There are not lifelong social and economic repercussions for the people who quit doing OnlyFans.
There can be. There are some times that it's
Sure,
not, but
in
there
some
are some
cases,
times that
vast majority,
there
no.
very much can be. So,
and I think that a lot of people, Rachel included, like to disregard the exception, even if I am an exception. I think she even stated earlier I could be lying about, my mental state because that's the only way she could possibly conceive that I'm saying all of this, because she
no.
doesn't see how it could ever be empowering for me
Listen,
and
I
women like
believe
me.
you. This is one point that you and I will agree on, because generally what I'm hearing from a lot of really nice, well-meaning men and women, especially on the conservative side, they don't believe you. They think that on the inside you're torn up, you're sad,
Which I'm not at all.
you want validation, your daddy didn't love you, and I'm the one always telling them, no, there are women who just love the attention. They love being sexually provocative. They love being exhibitionists.
That's
And
great. So you agree that
they're doing
OnlyFans
it,
could be
yeah.
empowering for women?
Well, I think that for women who are that way, now I think that that is disordered. I think that we shouldn't allow it. I don't believe in this in hyper individualist mindset that, well, I should just be able to do whatever I want so long as it's not directly harming anyone else, because that's not how the world works. When I was young and silly,
Well, it kind of is. We live in an individualistic society.
But
that's
we
kind of
don't.
how we've found like the best way to structure our society.
But that's not true. So we've destroyed our societies with this mentality. This enlightenment individualism stuff is bullshit, because we found out, oh, turns out you can't just do whatever you want and it's not going to have a repercussion on everyone around you, and therefore have a ripple effect into all of society. We have found out that radical individualism, sexual liberation, feminism, all these things do deeply affect society at large. And now what do we have? We have trans kids. We've got every girl
love bringing up trans people for no reason, don't we?
No, it's not a thing. This is what we've done, is take the most, it's a very Luciferian worldview that you have. Your worldview is the same as like what the Satanic Temple or Luciferians would say. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. I do whatever I want. It's none of your business, doesn't affect you. That's not real. That doesn't actually exist. You're telling yourself that, but it's not real. So I agree that there are women like you who do say, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to get my attention and I'm going to get my bag, and fuck all the women out there that it hurts, and fuck all the men out there whose lives might be destroyed, and screw society at large. I don't care as long as I get what I want. I agree with you that women like you exist. I am not deluded into believing that you're just a hurt little girl and someone did something bad to you once and you're just looking for love and attention. I don't believe that for a minute.
So just to be clear, so you do agree now that OnlyFans can be empowering for women?
It can be empowering for women who are pretty evil. Yes, I would say. If you really want me to say what I'm thinking, yeah, I think if you're an evil person and you're like, yes, I want to exploit you. I want to suck you in. I mean, I want to be your little
suck you in, all right?
Yeah, I want to be your little. Well, you had a thing on your.
You'll have to elaborate on the exploitation a little bit.
Well, because
do you think I'm exploiting men?
On your free fansly thing, I think you just don't give a shit. I think that as long as you get what you want, you don't care what it does to other people at all.
Yeah, but you mentioned exploitation. Do you think I'm exploiting men?
Yeah, so if you, I've met a lot of women like you who, they'll take men's money, they'll drain their wallets. They might know that the man is married. They might know that they're taking his last dime. They don't care. They go, that's his problem, not my problem. Why should I care?
Again, it seems like there's just no accountability for the men.
Of course there's accountability for men, but there's also accountability for you.
Do they not have agency over their own wallets?
Maybe they do, but don't you have agency?
So why would that be exploitation?
Don't you have agency just like they do? Wouldn't it not be both? Why would it be either or? It's both.
Because you specifically mentioned that I'm exploiting people.
Men shouldn't give women like you money.
If it's a mutual transaction, is that exploitation?
Well, maybe not every transaction you have is exploitation, but some of it may be. And I don't think you would care is the point. What I'm saying is,
I would.
You do findom?
I don't do, draining people's wallets.
Yeah, you don't do findom or anything like that?
I do, but I make sure it's within like a specified budget
You
that
It's
works for
do.
them.
Findom. I'm curious. What's
You do.
this?
Mm. What's
Financial
financial domination?
How does this mean? What does this mean?
So they have a sexual fetish or kink for sending women or men, in some cases, money, being financially dominated.
I see. So they're like, "Hey, Diddley, I'm
It's
gonna
like
give you
a
$50, and you're
mhm.
dominating me because of like you're getting my money."
Yeah, basically. But they also like being like called a pig and that kind of thing usually. But
Wow.
again, this is how like mutual transactions work, right? I'm providing a service and I'm getting paid for that service.
Oh, I believe you
It's
when you say that you enjoy doing this kind of work because you've already said, I don't want most men to want me because I don't want most men. And what I've picked up on in talking to a lot of OnlyFans girls, especially these ones, they actually hate men. They love
I
that
love men.
you love taking their money, you love getting their attention,
I
you
love
hate the men.
I
You
have a
hate the
partner. I
men.
love men.
No. No, you don't. You just said, I don't want them. I don't want most of them. I
I
don't
don't
care
want
if they
most
want me or
men, but
not.
yes, I don't want
Yeah.
most men. I have a partner.
And so
What?
all those men you see as disposable, you see as not really
No.
human beings, you see as pay piggies. Pay me, pay piggy.
Some of them I see as pay piggies.
Exactly.
That's for
And
sure.
this is why
But
I'm
the others,
saying
no, I just see them as like my viewers, my audience, you know?
this is an actual demonic way to live and operate in the world.
Mm.
To see people and you're like, "Oh, I'm exploitative." Yes, you're exploitative. You just proved to
Explain how.
everybody that you're exploitative. You love being able to dominate and exploit men who you see as expendable.
In a
You
mutual transaction where they're paying for a service.
you don't see any human value in these people. They exist to serve you. It's a very Luciferian demonic
So
worldview
is
that you
anyone
have.
that pays like for any service, if you put money into a vending machine and get a Coke, are you being exploited?
Do you think that's the same thing? That's you're
I'm
paying
asking
for the
you.
product. You're paying for
They
the
are paying
product.
for a service and I'm
Do you think
providing
that
them with that service.
the Coca-Cola company CEO is sitting there going, "Yes, yes, pay piggy, take my Coke." It's not the same thing. It's not analogous whatsoever. I'm
Well,
saying
if
what
you
you're
put money
doing.
into a vending machine to be called a pig and you put the money in and then the vending machine called you a pig, then you would be receiving the service that you've paid for.
Do you think that somebody who enjoys being sadistic towards people, even if that's their fetish, do you think that that person is a nice person? I don't.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They could be. I'm
Uh-huh.
sure there's some people who are nasty. There are some people like
See,
it's just
this is why I love having these conversations because I want all the men who are giving women like this money to understand she hates you. She does not see you as a human being.
I already said I
It
love
doesn't
men.
care what happens to you. She sees you as something that she can use up. You're just a resource for her. You're a source of attention and
You would
financial
make a
gain.
great dominatrix.
No, I wouldn't. I'm the opposite
The way
of
that you're spitting right now.
I would never enjoy hurting people for my own funsies. I don't get off
Well, they're not
on
being
that.
hurt, are they?
Are they?
They're getting enjoyment out of it.
Okay, we'll just
That's
leave it
the
at
point
that.
of fetishes, yeah.
I think I've made my point.
This one coming in from Juicy, to say the least. Kenneth says, I am not. Okay, Kenneth, you're sick. They said, I'm not being sarcastic. Hearing Rachel speak this way, they think it's like super charming. We'll put it that way. They said, Andrew's a lucky guy. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Rachel is Lois
It's the
Lane.
simps you were talking about that are ruining the world. Look, you're part of it. You're feeding into it. You're creating simps, Rachel.
To be fair, they say Diddley is the evil one. So, not a simp of yours, but William says, Rachel, what is a truly empowered woman? To be fair, Kenneth was praising Rachel's intellect but I do like that. You guys are both well spoken. Your guys' debates, they do really well. You're very well spoken. William says, Rachel, what is a truly empowered woman then?
I don't even like the word empowerment because from my worldview, life is not about empowering myself. It's actually about humbling yourself. From the Christian worldview, we are aspiring to attain the virtues and attain humility. And we believe that that's what gives our lives meaning and purpose and saves us. So, empowering maybe to the point that you can do good in the world, that you can help others find their purpose and do good in the world. That might be empowering if you want to put it that way. But I think that we've got this horrible modern mindset that everything's about personal enrichment and personal empowerment and what can I get for myself, and that causes more harm in the world than it does good, in my opinion.
So then, do we disagree on the definition of empowerment? It seems like you were drawing from like needing to help others rather than some kind of sense of self-fulfillment. Whereas,
No,
like
I
by
know what the word
definition, empowerment,
I know what the
you
word
do know?
empowerment means, and I know what it means to most people. I'm just saying from my personal worldview, it's not like what I'm after, so I don't. It's
Sure,
hard for
but
me to
like,
think
isn't
what
that's
would
the great thing
empower
about
someone.
empowerment is that what is empowering for you might not necessarily be empowering for me, and that's okay. People are empowered by different things.
I was just saying the goal shouldn't be empowering. I think that we misuse that word. I think that we have a wrong perception that life is about empowering people, and it comes from all this DEI, liberal type of mindset stuff. Oh, we got to empower the minorities. We got to empower the women. We have to empower everyone who's not a white male needs to be empowered. And I just think it's beside the point. Just my personal.
Well, I think that makes sense considering you're like against personal autonomy by the sounds of it.
What
I
was
think
that
that
word?
there's an appropriate amount of personal autonomy, but I don't think it goes as far as what you would think it would go.
What was that word? Findom? Were you
Yeah, findom.
Findom? Interesting. Okay,
Short
so
for financial
James learned a new
domination.
word today.
that's just so weird. No judgment.
That's
I'm not trying to
awesome.
put anybody down. It's just so like I'm like, wow, that's a new one. I'm like the cheapest man in the world. So I'm like the last person that would ever just be like, yo, I want to give you my money. I don't It's like the biggest turn off in the world for me to give you my money.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Funny.
I think it's based on like our society
Congratulations,
structure
James, you're
whereby
normal.
like men often are the breadwinners, and so it creates this like kind of environment where these men like are putting them in a position of powerlessness by giving them money to a woman. Like that's the most powerful thing you could give a woman, you know? They love just like the degrading aspect of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this a big percentage of your people? How many of your
No, this is
2,000,
like this is a pretty niche fetish, I would say.
you got 3,000 subscribers. How many though could it be?
Um, I don't know. And I like I said, I don't chat very much.
I'll put a poll in
Financial
chat to see
domination
how
is
many are
something you
here.
need to be actively engaging with in the chat.
Come again? Okay. I'm going to put a poll in the chat to see how many of these people are findoms. Findom. Okay. Yes. No.
Well, you would say fin subs because they're submissive. I would be the fin dominatrix.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Whatever. They get it. Folks, put your vote in on the poll. Let's see how many of you get off to that. This one coming in from Mercy says Rachel Boone. Let's see. I don't know what that means. Okay. Christian Humphrey says if empowerment is good, you ought to tell people to be empowered by doing X. So you should tell women to do X. Will you tell all women or most to do OnlyFans? Diddley.
That's not true at all. Empowerment doesn't mean that other people should be doing what you find personally empowering. The entire point of empowerment is personal autonomy. So what you find empowering is going to be different to what I find empowering. I wouldn't tell someone to do OnlyFans just because I enjoy it.
I think I read this one. Funny Farm said Rachel does what she does to better society. Diddley does what she does to better herself. Risk? Yeah, I think what Rachel does should be celebrated.
Is that wrong to do something that only celebrates yourself? Isn't that what most people do in their jobs? Like if you're not in healthcare or something that's like saving people's lives or benefiting them in some way.
I'm not saying you have to be some, and I'm not virtue signaling that I'm like this altruistic
Well, the
person that I
chat is.
never do anything. There's a healthy amount of self-interest, sure. But I don't think that like your whole worldview should be reduced to I'm going to get mine and what's good for me and fuck everybody else.
My whole worldview isn't, but I'm asking like if someone's career is that, it only benefits themselves, is that a bad thing? I don't think it is.
if it does that at the detriment of others, then I do think that would be bad. So like a drug dealer, for instance, I think that's an immoral, you know, career to
That's
have.
where we would differ because we're not going to agree that what I'm doing is at a detriment to others. So
You got it. This one coming in from. Do appreciate your question as well. Oh, I did want to ask, Diddley, did you, before we get into that, next question from Noah's Ark, Kansas says, what does the Silvitz boyfriend or husband do for work? Oh, never mind. They didn't mean Silvit.
the who?
They said Diddley. What does your boyfriend do for work? What's his career? The vast majority of men of value would never choose
Of value.
OnlyFans
He's a
to
carpenter, but
be their
he can
wife.
he could quit his job and I'd be happy with that. We have had moments where he's just not worked and I've just been the sole breadwinner and I'm fine with that. But he does carpentry.
Okay, they say the vast majority of men of value would never choose an OnlyFans girl to be their wife, even if it's in the past. Is this true?
Probably, and I don't care.
This one from Mercy says, to be fair, Diddley has nice feet. Wow, you sell feet pictures. Is this
That
true?
is true. I do have very nice feet.
Wow. Truth hurts. Can you ask Diddley to define empowered? Do not use generic terms. Use actual parameters. Maybe they mean like give us some actual variables that might be measurable empirically.
Measurable variables?
Yeah, something
What,
you can
like
empirically measure.
happiness, maybe?
Dollars.
Something that increases happiness, something that increases dollars. Empowerment is about living my life based on my own values.
This one from Sagoma says, why do you feel the need to insult people constantly? That doesn't seem Christ-like to me. Rachel, I actually thought she was pretty well behaved tonight. She only made fun of
Definitely better than the other people I've debated
she made
in
fun
terms
of
of
Diddley's
insulting.
stuffed animals in the background, but I don't remember. Did she do anything
Well,
else?
yeah.
Don't
No,
listen to it, Meryl.
I would love the chance to address this because we have a very serious problem in the West, especially in Protestant and some Roman Catholic circles, where people think Christianity means be nice and that it's just about politeness and never saying a cross word and never using coarse language and being polite. And as Christians, we, when in Orthodoxy, like when you get baptized into the church, we say, welcome to the arena because we think the world is a spiritual battle. And when you see evil, when you see something bad happening, when you see something that you think is wrong, you are obligated to label it as such and call it out. So I wasn't insulting, I wasn't being like nasty to her. I told her thank you for being here. She is a good sport about this. She is an image bearer of God and I would love it if she would stop doing this. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to convince her today. So the best I can do is point out what I'm seeing in front of me and call out what I'm seeing. So no, it's not unchristlike to see something that you think is evil in the world and label it as evil. Everybody needs to get that out of their head. Christians are not supposed to be doormats. We're not kindergarten teachers that use soft language and we say, oh, okay, sweetheart, I'll just tolerate whatever. No, that's nonsense.
What do you think of the Westboro
Christianity.
Baptist Church? I'm curious.
I think that they're feds and they're fake and they're abhorrent on purpose to discredit Christianity.
Okay.
You got it. Folks, if you haven't yet, please hit that like button. We appreciate your support. Wrongful Rage says, this is like weird and insulting wrongful rage. I don't understand. Basically, they just said OnlyFans is garbage. I don't know, in short.
No one's making you pay, buddy. It's all good.
The engaged few says one day, if she's lucky, she will wake up and realize how horribly ill-used she has been, mostly by herself. That's when I suspect that her tears will flood the world.
This is cope.
Lily Bell says, Diddley, thank you for putting your microphone there. Let's see. It's weird. Some of you guys are just so weird and you just are just strange. Really, though, says, if only fans are making all the money and then becoming investors, does that mean we can point to them as capitalist bourgeoisie oppressors responsible for lower class misery? The Communist Manifesto says it.
Yeah, I'm oppressing you.
I do think it's going to be a problem in the future. We already have a bit of a problem with having a service-based economy and not producing much of anything. And I think this whole explosion in sex work is not smart economically for the long term, because ultimately we should be producing goods and things of value and not
Putting more
just,
money into the economy is not good for the
I would
economy.
say that the same thing about podcasting. I think 90% of the people who do podcasting have no business podcasting. We don't need 50 billion podcasts. They're all about the same thing. Hopefully the market will just work that out. And I think it's going to do the same thing with OnlyFans at some point, because it's just not viable for most creators.
So that's an interesting topic because I've thought that myself, where I'm like, man, it's amazing how you see somebody on Rogan or on Patrick Bet David or the CEO Diary or the Modern Wisdom, and then they all like pass that guest around like a bag of Oreos. Like they'll appear on like all the other podcasts and say the same things, to where it is like where I'm like, this is like there's some sort of weird, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like some sort of weird incestuous circle of the podcasters, like cannibalism or something. There's something weird to it, but I'm not dissing it. Speakeasy says, Diddlery question. There are millions of creators. The average of creator makes 140 a month. Is that financially empowering for most creators or not? Big Rachel W.
If you're not making money, no, that wouldn't be financially empowering. But by even bringing this up, you're basically conceding the fact that for those who make a lot of money, it is empowering for them.
You got it. The screen flickering is driving me nuts. If people are watching live at Modern Day Debate, screen flickering, I don't know what's going on, but Carl45S says, Diddley, would you do OnlyFans for free if it's empowering to you psychologically like this?
Now that OnlyFans exists, no, I wouldn't. But in saying that, if it didn't exist and there wasn't a way for me to easily make money, like putting myself out there sexually online, I absolutely would be posting shit for free, and I have done it before OnlyFans existed. Like I said, I'm an exhibitionist, so yeah, I would be doing it regardless.
The feet pictures were already out there before OnlyFans. This one, Carl45S says, Diddley, would you do? We got that. Job Hunting says, for her comment on the short-term OnlyFans creators, there are people that have tools to scrape all the content like this, and they have done this for years. OnlyFans can also be bypassed by simple coding scripts, so you are exploited without even realizing it.
There are blackmail farms.
You're not going to be scraping Amy from down the street who does OnlyFans and has 1 subscriber. Like, you would be looking for people who are actively putting themselves out there online, like on Reddit and Twitter and Instagram, stuff like that. People who kind of have somewhat of a presence online.
Yeah, there are blackmail farms that exist for this sort of thing, and they will target some women. So this is not safe. It's not as safe as it's purported to be. There's a lot of risk.
It's undeniably the safest form of sex work, though.
But sex work is still risky, and this form of sex work still has risk. So,
of course, so does being a YouTuber, streamer, podcaster. Yeah.
According to the poll, only 9% of viewers are findoms.
Oh, what was the vote? What was the poll?
9% identify as fin.
Let's go. Right. The pay pigs. Rise up.
They're totally just saying that. They're trolling. Lily Bell says, Diddley, you're actually a legit sexual predator. You admitted to getting off on exposing yourself to your fans. You're one step away from going to jail.
Yeah. Nice one.
Axelfish M says, if OnlyFans is prostitution, even without nudity, is any public appearance prostitution someone could wank to? Anything they can see. Also, Bob Ross is ASMR. Before we get to Bob, he said, if OnlyFans is a prostitution, even without nudity, is any public appearance
I get what they're trying to say. It's like, so anything that could possibly be perceived as sexual, does that make you a prostitute? I would say no, because I think it depends on the intent of the creator. Like, simply being a hot woman and posting regular YouTube videos, you're obviously not a sex worker. It's more if you're purposely making content of a sexually gratifying nature.
I would agree with that.
Dr. Tetanus says, I think I understand the nuke Melbourne meme I've heard from Australian friends for so long. She'd refer to them as bokens. They'd call her a root rat. What does this mean?
Well, a
No
bogan
idea.
is like your version of like a redneck. So an
Oh,
Australian redneck, basically. And then a root rat sounds like someone who has a lot of sex. Root means sex in Australia.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
A root rat. I will
Mhm.
call my chat that. Leo Whitmer says Diddley has said she can't wipe her. Oh, okay. This is weird. Says,
Can't wipe.
okay. Do I have to read this?
Yeah, read it.
Okay, I'm gonna read it because as long I mean, yeah. So Delia said she can't wipe her ass because of the nails that she uses
True.
for her ASMR.
I'm
Not
ripping
kidding.
these off as soon as I'm done because these are little press-ons. I'll be
She says,
ripping them
isn't
off so I can take a shit later.
okay, that's very charming. Okay. Dylan Dishner says, did you guys change the color of the thermometer because of my joke that Ryan read? LOL, sorry, James, I couldn't help it. Yeah, Ryan is like Ryan. He's a good kid. Vandalorian
I
says
blame
Diddley.
Andrew. Andrew was getting Ryan a little tore up the other night and getting him a little loose, and he was getting a little having a little bit of fun. James.
Ryan's a good egg. I owe Ryan a lot. So as much as I like to tease him, I always try to humble him. I tell him the only good thing that came from Canada was Alanis Morissette, but he's such a proud Canadian. The Brandalorian says, Diddley, what will you do if you're doing one day, if what you're doing one day becomes a criminal offense, even punished by death, such as if there's a Sharia takeover?
Well, personally, I wouldn't want to live in a country where like people's personal autonomy is something that is criminalized. I would probably move away and seek political refuge.
Wow. Okay.
Based.
This has been like the most interesting.
Someday, one day,
Is that
America.
based? Aren't you against like a lot of people's, personal autonomy? Wouldn't you want that?
No, I don't want people to have the personal autonomy to have abortions and kill babies, or to do sex work, or to deal
That's what I
drugs,
mean. Like you would
or
probably
to
love if like Sharia law took over America.
no, because I'm not Muslim. But if we had a proper Christian society like we had for most of the last 2,000 years, that would be much better.
So like Sharia law, but for Christians, you would love it.
No, maybe Mosaic law, maybe like a Byzantine,
Hmm.
throne and altar type of law would be
Wait, so
great.
why'd you say
Yes,
base when I said I would move away and seek political refuge?
because in my America, if Rachel was the Empress of America tomorrow, and Andrew was King Andrew of America, yeah, we would make all that stuff illegal. And if you want to go do that crap, you got to go do it somewhere else. But you're already in Australia. It's already a penal colony.
Well,
You'll
it's a
be
great thing you
fine.
guys have democracy then. Woo.
Yeah. Democracy is kind of fake and gay, though. So, yeah.
Wow. Arcade
Very
Outpost says,
insightful.
Diddley, do you know Randbot?
How is it spelt?
That's a streamer.
Randbot. Is
No.
this one of your friends, Rachel? Who's Randbot?
I'm not friends, but I think, is he a Destiny Orbiter? I feel like I've heard of him in DGG circles, but I'm not sure. Andrew would probably know.
Okay. Alter Void says, so make it fine for drug dealers because a few get empowered. Diddley.
I mean, there is a conversation to be had about decriminalizing drugs in order to make it safer for people who have drug addictions to reduce
Well,
harm.
we've tried that. That's what I was referring to in my opening. In Portugal, they tried that. In the first few years, they were like, "Oh, we think it's going really well," and now it's not going very well. They're having a big problem. They're rolling back all of the liberal drug friendly laws in San Francisco here in the United States, in Seattle, Portland, Oregon, in some of these cities where they've had like decriminalization of drugs and they've been passing out syringes so that people can do drugs safely. All they've ended up with is a giant public health crisis. It has not worked out.
What
I
giant
remember
public
I'm
health crisis?
old. I'm 44 years old. I'm pretty old. So I was like in the 90s when these policies were being rolled out and people were floating these ideas and thinking they would be a good idea. And now we're 25 years later and it has not worked out. It's been a disaster.
Wait, can you
And
describe what happened? What was the public health crisis?
so if you go to San Francisco now, which used to be one of the most beautiful cities in our country, it's trash. There are people defecating in the streets. You can
Are all
actually get an
decriminalized in San Francisco?
yeah, they had
that.
like a clean needle
Is that true?
program. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all decriminalized in San Francisco?
Pretty much. Like as a user, I think they still prosecute drug dealers, but just users, they don't, they kind of decriminalized it. They have like safe places where you can go and get clean needles. They have places where you can go and detox. They let the homeless drug addicts just chill in the middle of the street. And it's been a disaster. Same thing in Portland, Oregon, in Seattle, Washington, like our most liberal cities where they've tried these decriminalize the addicts type of policies. It's been an absolute disaster. And a lot of those places are probably going to be forced to roll back a lot of that. Same thing like Los Angeles has a lot of areas where they don't really prosecute drug users.
I just Googled it. It says that they did not decriminalize drugs in San Francisco.
It's not an official law. It's like a city policy where they just don't choose to prosecute, and they thought that having clean needle programs and safe drug use programs would help with drug use, and it's just made it worse. Same thing with Portugal.
Right, but they didn't decriminalize it, like what I was talking about.
Well, the California law, no, they haven't like
harm reduction.
They haven't repealed California law, but locally, and it's the same thing in America as when we have sanctuary cities where technically it's still not legal to be an illegal alien, but in a sanctuary city they do not prosecute, and they have an open policy of not prosecuting. It's similar to that. So
Diddley? Okay. We'll jump to the next one. Thank you very much for this question. Dylan Dishner says, Diddley, do you care about your potential future children getting bullied by other kids that found your content?
Sure, no one wants their children to be bullied, but like, should gay parents not send their kids to school in case their kid gets bullied because their parents are gay? Should black parents not send their kids to school because they'll have racist harassment thrown their way? Like,
well,
I would hope.
What if your children are embarrassed though? Like, what if you have a son and he gets to be 15 and he's embarrassed?
To respect people's bodily autonomy.
What? Say that again. You cut out.
I said I don't think that will be the case because I'll be raising my children to respect people's bodily autonomy.
So you don't think that even if you raise your son with your liberal values and he gets to be 15, he might not like the fact that his mother was a sex worker and that her stuff's out there?
I mean, it's possible that he might not, but again, like, I'm going to be raising them specifically to respect people's bodily autonomy, so I don't really see that being the product.
So what if you have a daughter and she says, well, I want to be like mommy when I grow up and I want to do this too. It worked out good for you.
Well, maybe she'll be a YouTuber then.
Now, what if she does OnlyFans?
If that's what she wants to do and it's something that makes her happy and it's something that brings her financial freedom, I'd support her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. This is the answer I always get when I talk to these girls. They really think they're going to grow up and have kids and that the kids either won't care or that they don't care if the kids will care. Or most of the time they even tell me they're not going to have kids. But when they do say they're going to, they're just like, meh. And I think it's just something that they
what would you say to like a couple of gay parents who have a child? Should their kid feel embarrassed or ashamed if they get bullied at school?
I don't think gay couples should have children. How are they going to have them unless they're adopting them?
Okay, so let's go to black people then. Should a black kid feel embarrassed because he's being harassed at school?
Your race is an immutable characteristic, not a moral life choice. Those are not analogous.
Yeah, of course.
The black kid was born black. There's nothing inherently immoral about being a black person.
Sure, but I'm trying to illustrate how being bullied at school probably isn't a great reason for you to like
if my husband was a hitman for the mob and our children grew up and found out their dad was a murder for hire hitman, and they were upset or horrified or, didn't like that, it would be very understandable. Yeah, if you choose
Yeah,
a
it would
career
be.
if you choose a career that's like very immoral, or embarrassing to your children, yeah, I think that's a problem. Like, I think even just being a stripper, like, you don't want your kids to grow up and find out you used to be a stripper. That's just not a
Sure, I think this is a
respectable
topic that
thing.
a lot of people who are against OnlyFans love to bring up all the time, but it's just not something we're seeing in reality. Like, the, how are school children? Can you explain to me the process of how a school, let's say 20 years in the future, my child's classmate is going to somehow find my OnlyFans, make the connection that I'm some kid's mum, and then bully them for that? How does that
Well,
actually occur?
I would say I don't even care if nobody ever finds out except your child. Like, let's say nobody finds out about it, but your child finds out about it, and they, do you care what they would feel about that, or if they would look at you differently? And I'm guessing your
What
answer
if
would be
they
no, because
didn't look at me differently? What
you're
would you
going to
think of
raise
that?
them with the same morals you have, and you think this is fine. So, like,
What if they didn't look at me differently?
then I guess you've succeeded in raising them to be a nihilist just like you. You don't care about anything. You don't have a moral standard. You just think
Well,
whatever
I do,
makes me
because I
happy.
value autonomy. That
No,
is my
no, you value
where my
personal
value lies.
gratification. No, your value is in personal
What's wrong with
gratification.
personal gratification?
What is the purpose of your life if the only meaning is personal gratification?
I never said
What
it's not
happens?
meaning.
What happens once you
Why
get
do you
it
eat
all?
chocolate?
What do you mean? I
Why do you
don't
eat
only
chocolate?
eat chocolate. I eat
I don't
food so
only
I can live.
fans. That's not the
No,
only
but
aspect of my life. It's just one small part of it.
it's
This
not
one
one
come
small part of it. It's a very large part of your life. It's a big
Well,
part
I
of
could
your
put
identity.
parts of your life that would give you personal gratification.
There's nothing wrong with doing some things that make you happy, but to say your whole moral worldview is just, I don't care as long as it makes me happy and doesn't hurt anyone. So, like, what if a guy was, it makes him happy to stand across the parking lot from the kids' elementary school and masturbate?
Well, that would be
He's not,
impeding on people's personal
well, they
autonomy,
don't
wouldn't
have
it?
to look. They can just look the other way, right? Just tell them not to look.
Well, that having them be forced to move away from the situation would be impeding on their personal autonomy.
No,
I hate to
just
do
tell them
this.
to look the other way.
We gotta.
It's like, sorry.
We have got so many more questions.
Okay.
Dylan Dishner says, we got that one. White Chad says, Diddley, hypothetical. Would you let your son date or marry an OnlyFans woman or prostitute?
If my son meets someone who he loves and they get along and it's like a happy, healthy relationship, I would support it.
This one from Leo Whitber says, Diddley, but I feel empowered by invading other people's autonomy. Why do you get to define what gives me empowerment?
I don't. It might give you empowerment.
Justin Henley says, but Diddley, if your empowerment doesn't concern others, who are you empowered against? Are you just saying empowered is self-confident? Debate Andrew on the red pill.
It can be. And financial empowerment gives you more freedom and power, just like in a community, in our society. Oh,
Did
wait,
not have
you cut out a little there.
said, Diddley, if you did not have breakfast this morning, how would you feel?
I already said I would feel pretty good.
Anthony says, Diddler. Debate Andrew on the red pill. And then also, Drunk Batman says,
Didn't
how
you
is it
say
a
that you guys weren't red pill?
I'm not. Andrew's not either, but I don't
Was
know
that him
either.
or was that someone else that said that? It seems like people think you guys are red pill.
at least think
Both
Andrew?
of us, yeah, both of us. Andrew says the same thing I say. He's debated red pill guys. He's debated Rollo Tomasi on the red pill. He's debated Michael Sartain on the red pill. A bunch of popular red pill guys that he's debated. He would say he agrees with some of their descriptions of problems, but that he has a different worldview. So the red pill stuff, like, it's more really like the pickup artist guys and stuff like that that we disagree with. We don't disagree with their descriptions of problems for the most part. So I don't know why they want you to debate him on that. I don't know.
Drunk Batman says, how is it empowering for women to sell pictures of their buttholes on the internet? But Diddley doesn't sell pictures of her butthole.
But it might still be empowering for people who do. If they like showing their butthole, if that's their sexual proclivity, then you do you, girl.
But in the future, Diddley, you're just like, no, I draw the line. No
Uh,
buttholes.
yep, well, I drew the line from the get-go and I've never strayed from like where I was comfortable doing content. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
drunk Batman. Don't wait on her. It's Mercy says, not bias, just an observation. He said, Rachel is letting her emotions get in the way of the debate, raising her voice and saying, quote, nobody cares about you, unquote. Well, I don't remember her saying that. He said, while Diddley is speaking objectively and is calm.
Look, part of debating is you don't want to be boring. You got to be a little entertaining, you know? You got to like bring your personality a little bit. You got to be a little emotive. Nobody wants to sit here and watch me go, well, actually, the CDC says the blah 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 blah, you know.
It is true. I think a
It's
lot
part
of,
of the game.
yeah, it is true that the most confident debaters who say it as it is and then some are the most fun to watch for the audience. We've noticed that. Lumbago says, Diddley, you made no arguments this debate. The only arguments you have ever made were against your parents. Oh my gosh. You left your dignity with the 4K camera stand. WMDD. I don't know what that is. That another slang? What's that mean?
No, they're saying W for modern day debate.
Oh, thank you. Okay. But anyway, back to the insult against you, Diddley. What are your thoughts?
So I'm seeing this trend where people seem to think that dignity, self-worth, empowerment is something that you get to decide for me. It's actually not. So no, I'm not impeding on my dignity at all. I am best friends with my parents. I don't know, maybe your parents are divorced and you don't get along well with them, and that's why you're projecting, perhaps? Not sure.
This one
Yeah.
from Anthony says a lot of Diddler subscribers, simps, are defending her in this chat. Diddley,
Yes.
did you ask your simps? Did you go on OnlyFans and share this link and say, hey, team, come on out and defend me, simp for me?
No, I didn't. I shared it on my Discord.
Thank you for sharing it. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Mr. Disappointed says, Rachel, would you agree that all women are worried about is getting a bag, and then they should reserve themselves to arranged marriages and remove all doubts about OnlyFans past? What does this mean? I don't know what they're saying.
I think he's asking if I think we should just like have women be in arranged marriages and just probably not. I don't know. Like I'm
What
not
is
sure how
this?
to respond to it.
Getting a bag. Does that mean getting money?
Getting
Money.
money.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I think that the Kardashians really like changed the culture for girls. I think that we put women like, you know, Kim Kardashian and the like top Instagram models, the Taylor Swifts and the Beyoncés, the Go Girl, the Cardi B's, the Megan Thee Stallions, right? I'm gonna twerk. I'm gonna show you my ass. I'm gonna get the money. I can be just like a man. I'm empowered because I act like a man, because I'm promiscuous and because I'm sexually liberated and I've got money. And I just think that's a really, really bad message for women. I think it's terrible. It's like a
Red
whole other thing, though.
Red Pookie Pill says, Rachel, you sound like you have no actual opinion of your own and that you stay on the internet all day and night. You shouldn't be speaking, Mrs. Traditional. Your husband should be speaking.
Oh, ooh, I've never heard this one before. So, we believe that people are born in the time and place most suited for their salvation. I've always had like a little bit of a different opinion about things like feminism since before I met my husband. That's why when he met me, he liked me because I already kind of had a similar worldview. Of course, he's had a big effect on me because he's a brilliant guy. He's a really great thinker. We talk through ideas and debate all the time, so I would never say that he has no influence on my thinking. Of course he does, and I'm glad he does because he's a very smart guy. But I certainly have my own opinions. Andrew doesn't write my articles, my essays. He doesn't give my speeches. He didn't write my book. He and I strongly disagree on whether Metallica or Megadeth is the superior metal band. So I'll have you know I do have my own
It's
thoughts and
Megadeth.
opinions. It's Megadeth, exactly. See?
Wow.
You're right.
This one from Funny Farm says drug dealing is a mutual exchange to W. Rachel.
Huh? Drug
They
dealing
said,
is a mute.
I think they're saying that Diddley, that, even though it's a consensual exchange, so is drug interactions, people selling meth.
Sure, but like the difference would obviously be like the massive impact it has on someone's health, which I don't think is at all comparable to OnlyFans.
This one
Like if
from
someone wants to consensually cannibalize someone, should we just allow that to happen? Like there are limits to personal autonomy.
Murray says, if you play a villain in a movie, are you evil? I don't know how that's relevant. Max V says, just because Rachel says something, it doesn't mean it's true. She needs to be reminded of this more often. Stop pretending you know what others think, Rachel.
Well, I would just remind this lovely chatter that we are here to debate, and the whole job I have in being here is to present my worldview and defend it the best that I can. Okay, so like context matters here. I don't run around, I don't go to the grocery store and be like, stop being a degenerate. You're having sex out of wedlock. Don't talk to your child that. Like, I don't do that. We're here to debate our worldviews and justify our morals. So that's what I'm doing. I just happen to be pretty good at it. I'm very convincing.
Cinematic Jurassic says moral conservatives like Rachel are against individualism but advocate for capitalism. How do they fail to see that they go hand in hand?
Well, first of all, you don't know me. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really buy into the capitalist, communist, left, right dialectic. I don't think it's that simple. I'm not like a typical Republican. If you go to my Twitter, I'm complaining about Republicans all the time. It says not conservative right in my bio because I don't think we've bothered to conserve anything. So I don't have like this stereotypical Republican, Democrat, left, right paradigm. That's not how my brain works. It's not how I think. It's not my worldview. So no, I'm not like a Rush Limbaugh capitalist or something like that. So you're just wrong about that.
Wow. This one from Petra Guard says Diddley says nar instead of no. All her arguments, if she had any that is, are invalid. What's this nar? Is that some sort of Aussie thing Australian people say?
Making fun of the way we say no.
Oh, you got it.
Mm.
Sam Slenderman, why do the modern day debate hosts always use crappy mics? I mean, I knew mine was crappy, but I'm kind of feeling better now that I know that Ryan's was also crappy. Max V says, for the love of Satan, please pull the mic away from your face, James. Thanks for the reminder. Let's see. Beck Bella says, I only like Dommy mommies. What's that?
Like Rachel, more like
Really?
I thought it
yeah,
was just a dominatrix.
a mummy.
Is that
Not
really
very
what a Dommy mommy
domineering.
is? They say female empowerment is being born in a free country.
Okay.
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 Then this one from Stupid Not Funny says Rachel is 100% correct on masturbation and porn. This diddler chick has no clue. Andrew said he wants to debate you, Diddley.
On masturbation?
Probably on some other topic. I think that masturbation thing was their own little pitch in.
Hmm.
This one from Dave D says, young lady, our body is our soul's temple. You turned it into a den of thieves. What's online stays online forever.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if this fits. Like the question of like, I think this crossed my mind the other day. I don't know how or why. Like, what if your own kids someday discovered your content online? Is that
Yeah,
weird?
it would kind of suck, but hey, they'll be at in a nice house at least when they find it.
All
And
right.
that's what really matters. What really matters is having money and material things.
Well, that is like a huge plus, yeah.
I'm not saying
This
it
one.
doesn't matter, but I'm saying there should be a lot more to your life than just getting stuff and having
Yeah,
things.
absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
This one from the Cold Quest. As a teenager, girls were scared of having their nudes leaked. Now they sell them. For goodness sake.
Yeah, but like I
Agree.
said, it's risk and reward. You have to kind of weigh up if it's worth the risk.
But realistically, like a tiny percent sell them, right? And then like a tiny percent of women are in OnlyFans. Like what percent of overall, what percent of women are in OnlyFans?
Oh, overall,
Very
Probably like
minuscule.
small.
What would it be?
less than 1%.
Oh
If
yeah.
there's 4 million and it's like mainly four
Cool.
countries or something. I think it's like 1 million women in the United States, and there's what 160 million women. So it's a small number, but it's still the largest number there's ever been. Sex work used to be something that you did if you were like desperate, homeless, orphaned, poor, uh, something like that. It didn't used to be something that like young girls were choosing to do because they thought they could get rich and famous from doing it. So
All right. William. Oh wait, but hold on. I have a theory. I'm not trying to cut you down, Diddley. Although to be fair, you've never even mentioned what percentile you are. So, because I see a lot of times on Twitter, some of the OnlyFans people will say like top 1% on OnlyFans. But
Mm-hmm.
I, without trying to, like, I have no envy. Like, you know, but I don't think that it's as meaningful as you think to be in the top 1%. Here's why. I think a lot of people think that OnlyFans is nothing but women creating content. But I think, you guys, think about this. The vast majority of like the weird sexual stuff out there is dominated by men. Like, voyeuristic behaviors, like keeping toms. If I remember right, that's what voyeurism is. It voyeurism?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's when you're trying to see other people naked.
Yeah.
Like 98% of them are men who like get caught or even confess to it. And then like voyeurism, that'd be the same, right? And then
exhibitionism.
exhibitionism, showing your privates to strangers. It's all men. Men are like they're just like sexual deviants. They dominate all these different forms of sexual deviance. So my guess is that it's not Diddley showing her butthole. It's like a ton of men showing their buttholes on OnlyFans. I haven't checked, but I bet there are so many accounts of men who just get off to showing off their butthole.
Well, yeah, I've
There's
subscribed to a lot of men on
You're
OnlyFans as well.
subscribed to
So
them. Okay.
yeah,
Tell me more.
there are
I'm a
male
subscriber as
creators, but
well.
male creators are still a small minority though. But
Okay. So, okay. Stats have actually looked at it. Okay.
yeah.
And then, like, are there a lot of like, how many women? I suppose it's probably not for a fetish. So, like, less appealing women, I hate to say it, more homely women, less physically attractive women, they probably don't do as much OnlyFans, right? Because it's just not being
I
Well, no,
don't
loaded.
think
that's
Or
the
they
whole
do as
appeal to like the girl next door thing.
oh, you
It
think that
actually
some
has
of them?
big appeal. People who just seem like normal, everyday women who could be your next door neighbor, rather
yeah.
than like the big bimbo fake Instagrammers.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then you have your other weird fetishes like the 500-pound feeder gals and
What are these?
things
Okay,
like
tell me
that.
more.
They're big girls who have creepy weirdos who pay them money to like eat tons of food and then they
Wow.
sexualize it.
You're
Yeah.
loving this, James.
I just can't understand how
I'm
people
sorry I know this stuff. I didn't know any of this a few years ago, but
like
I've been forced to know it, so now I know it.
you're like an encyclopedia, Rachel. But
Just
I
from
just don't
talking to
understand.
them all the time.
I don't understand how people like get off to that. I can't believe it's hard to believe that it's like a natural. I suspect there has to be some sort of gateway,
It's not.
like some
Yes.
sort of
So
like you start with
that's the
like
Substack article I told you about that I wrote, was digging into how this happens. Like, this is a well documented phenomenon that um usually people start with very like entry level type of porn, pretty normal, just like a guy and a girl having a sex type of a thing, or something like that. And then after a while, that doesn't have the same effect. So they move into something a little bit weirder. Maybe they're into the group stuff or the trans stuff or something or the gay stuff. And then that doesn't work anymore. So they have to get into weirder and weirder things. And then there are programs, like actual insidious programs, that will try to get people into things like sissy hypno or binaural beats that are like programming you to be into certain things. Yeah, it's very bizarre. It's like well documented stuff. And there were even
wow.
MK Ultra experiments that studied this kind of thing. They like zapped people's brains while showing them different types of porn, and it's
Now,
wild stuff. Dark
peop
stuff.
Diddley, is this true? This is all true?
Well, if we want to talk about like the formation of sexual fetishes, based on the studies I've read, it's related to like classical conditioning, and it happens at a very young age. So, for example, like foot fetishes are super, super common, and this is something that actually happens very young. And it's typically because, like, in the young male brain, they'll see a very attractive woman, and then like she's got her feet out, or she's wearing really nice shoes. This is where shoe fetishes form as well. So the brain just like pairs attractive women with feet or shoes, and that's kind of how like that fetish forms.
James, you know the directors of the Matrix movies? They used to be the they used to be brothers. Now they're both women. They both say that they transitioned due to, first they got into like dominatrix stuff, like S&M stuff, and then they got into sissy hypno and used it to transition and become women. So that would be like the most famous example that's out there.
Wow, they transitioned into these like different sexual appetites. Okay. Wow. Now people in chat are like, James is playing dumb. How could I possibly know that people get off to watching people pig out? That's weird. Like, I don't know how any
James
like
is a sweet innocent guy. He doesn't know about this awful stuff,
it's
you guys.
all these people in chat. Oh, they like know so much about this. They didn't know about that. I mean, maybe Ryan did. I see him in chat, but they didn't know these things. William says, did Diddley, you knew about that already? You knew about the people that
Feederism, yeah.
wow. Okay, I guess I'm naive.
I'm clearly
James
not
just
one for the feeders, but
listening to prank William says Diddley. Okay, we're going there, Diddley. I hope this doesn't how was your relationship with your father?
very good. We're very close.
Wow. Is he supportive? Does he know about the job?
Yeah, my parents are like very liberal, so
But do they help you out? Like, do
no.
they
Did they help me out? What do you
not
mean?
like not in a way that would be like that? I mean, like,
No, they're just happy that I'm doing a job that I'm really happy doing, and I'm very successful.
I heard about the creator that she had relations with 1,000 men, and then her mom would help her with cleanup afterwards. That's
Oh,
pretty
that's yeah,
gross.
no. That's weird.
That's so
Yeah, I think that's Lily
gross.
Phillips. Her mom is her manager.
Oh,
That's that's
really?
so
Yeah.
uh it's just gross in general to clean up bodily
Mm.
fluids like that. But
Yeah, you could
then
get a
to
pay pig to do that, and they would pay you to do
oh wow,
it.
this is enlightening.
She needs to be
William,
I
outsourcing
love
better.
this liberal world. I love liberal world where freaks pay you money to clean up the fluids from your gangbang. Isn't this great, you guys? Don't you love liberal land?
I do,
Holy
yeah.
moly. It's
does
so
it ever
gross. So
okay,
disturbing.
but to be fair though, our pal Ridley here, she said she's kind of like, even I think that's a little bit too that's
Yeah.
weird. Okay.
It is insane to me that people in chat are always like, they're going off about my fucking sexual depravity, but the first thing they think of is like incestuous relationships or bestiality for some reason whenever they're like in the vicinity of a woman who does OnlyFans. Fucking gross. Why is incest the first thought that pops into your mind? Have a think about that.
I want to be clear. That was not what I was getting at. I was thinking as in like mom does your accounting, something like that, like supporting the business, not helping you
Yeah,
out.
no,
And
that's weird.
Bobby C says the safest form of sex work is the kind where no one knows who you are, but you can still profit, like AI prawn.
Or audio erotica, like I do. You don't even have to show face. So,
And this one from Vortome says when your children grow up and have to deal with your past, what advice would you give them if you were talking to them right now?
I mean, again, this is something that like they would be like raised to respect people's bodily autonomy. So I don't think this is something that would just randomly spring onto them and they would be shocked and distraught and traumatized. Yeah, just like a gradual process, I think.
Verse C says Rachel, they're a fan. Really though, says Diddley, why do you have children's toys? Are you a member of any new age religions, Eastern influenced caste system fascism? Who taught you? I think they mean toys in the background like your stuffed animals.
Right. No, I'm just a fucking nerd who likes Pokemon.
Okay.
Is that a
Corey
crime?
Gates. Corey Gates says, you say you do OnlyFans even if you weren't making money. Would you find it, I think we kind of got a variation of this question. Would you find it empowering without being paid? You already answered that, right?
Yeah,
Des,
I would personally, but just because obviously, like I said, I'm an exhibitionist and it's like a sexually liberating thing for me. I like putting myself out there, so I would find that empowering even if I wasn't gaining
I'm not going to
financial
be,
empowerment.
I'm not going to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean here because I know that some
Mm.
people in chat are going to be like, James, and I'm not trying to cut you down, but I mean, like, I think everybody's kind of like, the obvious reply is like, but the people that are getting off to you, is it that empowering if they're, I know not all of them, but if they're all like big, fat, greasy, smelly men that never would have a woman talk to them. I'm not saying all OnlyFans customers are that way, but I got to be honest, I'm guessing most are. Let's say this is just for the sake of argument. If someone said, let's say it was that 99% were those types of these, fat men that are all greasy and they smell like body odor. Is it
I mean, like, I
still
don't
that
think the fact that they're fat and ugly like changes how I feel about it. I think, like, I honestly, they send photos to me as well. They're just normal looking dudes.
most of them?
Oh, yeah, vast majority.
But why wouldn't they just go out and get girlfriends or date or
They're
whatever?
married. The majority of them are married.
Most of them are married. Come on, you think I'm more
Mhm.
like Diddley? Come on, for real.
Statistically, yeah.
Look, someone in chat says, "Wow, James, insensitive much." Sorry. Come on. Listen, they say, James, you personally attacking me like that. I'm not trying to attack anybody, but come on, Diddley. I have to find out. I have to do some sort of internet research to find out what OnlyFans people look like. It just doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't the ones that are fat and greasy and smelly, they're the ones that are most starved for the attention, so it makes sense that they'd pay for it. Married ones, I suppose if their
Um,
wife hates them, maybe they
well,
would,
I
but
think this is the mistake that people commonly make is that people's goal in subscribing to an OnlyFans creator is to create some sense of emotional connection. I think that gets overblown massively. People are just there to jack off. There's maybe like in my experience at least, and from the creators I've talked to, it's a tiny, minute percentage of people who like actually are trying to like pursue some kind of emotional connection. And I can speak for myself as a subscriber as well, someone who pays to other people's OnlyFans pages. I'm just there to jack off.
wow, how much do you drop a month on OnlyFans?
I don't think I've subbed to anyone in a while. Usually it'll just be like a little stint, 1 month where I'll like drop 5 because I'm having a real big Guna month, you know?
I don't know. I don't want to know what that means.
Oh wait,
This
you have a boyfriend, like,
Oh no, I masturbate. Yeah.
yeah, but like I have a husband so that I don't have to do that because I prefer to have sex with a man and not with myself. So like,
Yeah, sure, but I feel like a lot of people, I mean, because you obviously view masturbation as wrong or sinful or whatever, but I think everyone who has ever been in a relationship before who isn't a religious fanatic knows that you still masturbate when you're in a relationship. I think we can all agree with
I guess
that.
I just don't know why. I
James, are you
don't
married?
I'm a
Are you
single
married?
bachelor to the rapture.
Okay.
for
Does
me
the
the whole
masturbating stop
appeal
the
is the
moment you get in a
man.
relationship?
I don't get it.
We're gonna jump to the next question.
Or is
This debate
that's too
isn't about
personal?
me. Okay, so this one
We
from
know I'm right. We know I'm right.
Corey Gates says, by the way, I'll concede not every OnlyFans person is a nasty guy. Corey Gates says,
Mm.
you say you do OnlyFans even if, well, yeah, that one. Desert Joe says, we all know Australia isn't a real country. Also, watch out for the drop bears. They are scary.
Very
Really?
original.
Okay. Lily Bell says she probably wouldn't want her own son to watch her stuff given she's an exhibitionist. Oh, they're saying that you probably would want, but you'd say
Again with the
no.
fucking incest fantasies.
Okay. By the way, okay. Really, though, it says for Rachel, do you not believe these people will open private schools and a communal right so they can live apart from our contemptible society?
Are they asking if we made this stuff illegal, do I think that they would go off and make their own communities? Is that what they're asking?
I don't know. I think so. It's
If
weird.
that's the question, they could try, but breakaway communities have historically not really worked out very often. There's like a few exceptions, like the Amish, but if they want to go have Goonerland over there, I'm fine with it. We can make Australia Goonerland, and all the normal people can live in America, and all the
That
Gooners
sounds
can go to
base.
Australia. Then we
I'm happy with
agree.
Australia.
that.
Diddley and I
Mm.
agree. Thanks, honey.
Zwollen says, we're going off the deep end with both sides today. Get your diving gear, fellows. Thank you for that. Dr. Tetanus says, I think most women's problems come down to a lack of agency and a propensity for high time preference behavior. What's that mean? A high time preference
As in
behavior?
like personal having time to yourself? Is that what that means?
No, high time preference means you're like thinking far ahead into the future
Oh,
and
right.
making your decisions based off of that rather than like short term gratification. That's usually what high time preference means. So he said he thinks most women's problems are a result of that and what?
You know what? Well, I think I agree with you, like for time, but they say high time preference, which makes me think like heat of the moment stuff, which I get what you mean,
Maybe I
Rachel.
have it
Sure,
backwards.
I would
Maybe I
say
have it
most
backwards.
people that's the case, right? Not even just women.
And then they also they say light switch brains. I think that maybe they mean that like women act on their emotions at the moment, and that's how they go.
Yes, very insightful. Never heard a man say that before.
Yeah, I got it backwards. High time preference is when someone's more likely to choose immediate gratification over future benefits, but that's something that is usually it's not just correlated to women, it's correlated to things like IQ and there's other things that correlate to it more than just your sex or gender. But
Kelly,
I don't think that used to be the case. So, like, because I'm kind of a historian, back in the day, women were the ones who were more likely to plan long term because we have children. And because historically we would always be like pregnant or nursing most of our lives, we were very much oriented towards security and long term security until the sexual liberation stuff happened. And now, because it's saturated the pop culture and it's very popular, and we've been kind of brainwashed with all this propaganda, women do think that they're going to be hot and sexy forever. It's never going to end, right? And that this all the attention and money you get from being young and attractive is just going to always be that way. Whereas my grandmother and her sister were like, "Well, we better try to get married by the time we're 25 because after that the chances of us getting husbands is going to like drop off a cliff and we want to get married for long-term security." So it's just a totally different mindset that women have before feminism and after.
Oh, true,
got
James.
it.
Someone said in the chat, would you mind fixing my link in the
Glad to.
description?
I have
You
your
can you can just do my YouTube channel if you want.
I'm happy to do that. I used the link from
Yeah.
your last debate.
Yeah,
It's
it's
snip
broke
feed.
now. It broke.
Oh, okay.
I'm on that link tree now.
Okay.
You can do the
Let
link tree or YouTube, I don't mind.
We'll update. This one
Hmm.
from Kelly Whalen says the prompt essentially is, does OnlyFans provide a net benefit for women or society? It seems that millions engage in degenerate behavior, watching OnlyFans for the financial benefit of about 800 people.
Was
I don't
that
know.
just a statement or was there a question there?
I don't even know what the point was. Uh, The prompt essentially is, does OnlyFans provide a net benefit? It seems that millions engage in degenerate behavior and it only benefits a tiny amount. Okay, so they're saying like, hey, this is like a millions that do degenerate behavior and only like
Hmm.
800 people are like really financially
Well,
crushing
this is
it.
ignoring the fact that the people who are coming are obviously benefiting as well because orgasming would be the benefit.
Gotcha. Penublet says, Diddley, would you be fine with your son, quote, and okay, that's
Another incest fantasy. You're fucking weird.
let's see. I mean, you don't have a son. Um, but I think like yeah, so I think that they're like Penublet. I think that like only if, Diddley was probably kind of thinking like my son's probably going to be normal, so if he did see like naked content of me, he'd probably not be like wanting to enjoy it. I Killed Earl says, Rachel, please keep your Christian quote unquote morals to yourself. Not everyone wants to live the way you do. Your way isn't objectively correct. We're not your children you need to parent. It's pure arrogance.
Ooh, another zinger. Again, the reason I'm here is to give my worldview and argue in favor of it. And if I give convincing arguments and more people think like me, y'all are the ones who love democracy. So if I can sway the most people over to my side, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm not your mom. It's not like I have power over you. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your dommy mommy. So just relax and enjoy the debate. Calm down.
Wow. Okay. I just updated Diddley's link as well.
Thank
And
you.
which is it's you're an interesting cat because you've been doing this ASMR and you have an unusually large YouTube following of
Unusually.
600,000. Yes,
Hmm.
unusually large. What is it? 604,000 subscribers. That's crazy.
That's
And
me.
that's how you started was with ASMR. But
Hmm.
Rachel says that's for creeps. Are
Well,
these
yeah, that's a
creeps?
common misunderstanding of ASMR. Most
even if
people are
it's
watching
not
it.
even if it's not sexual, I've had this discussion with my kids. I think it creeps me out. There's nothing I hate more than mouth noises, scraping noises. Like I'm
Yeah,
the
it's either
whatever.
you either love it or hate it. You're just
Yeah,
one of the people that hate
yeah.
it.
If
Yeah,
I'm the opposite of whatever it is when people love that stuff,
I love
it
it.
gives me the willies. I can't stand it. It creeps me out. Blah, blah, blah,
That's that's
blah, 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 blah.
okay. This one coming in from let's see. We got that from I Killed Earl, longtime viewer. Thanks, I Killed Earl. Dan Goldstein says, Diddler, what kind of crystal would empower you? Being Australian, I'm thinking a red opal and debate Andrew on the red pill. And W, Rachel.
What crystal?
Well, what kind of
I don't
crystal
believe
you
in
like?
crystal empowerment or astrology or religion or any of that made up bullshit. Sorry.
Well, see, here in the United States, Donald Trump is the president. And so we're putting liberals into crystals. That's what we're
Into
doing. Yep.
crystals?
You're going to go
What does
into
that
the
mean?
crystal. You're going to go into the crystal, and that's going to be that for you. So just pick your color. We have a lot. You could choose what color you like. We'll
Is
put you
this
in
a
the
new meme that
crystal.
I'm not aware of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mercy, says James. Can you please call me a loser? Are they trying to get me to dom them? This
Don't do
from
it,
They
James.
are. They are.
such a nasty guy. That was the same guy asking for
You
Rachel's
just
feet
did it. You
pics.
just degraded him.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. He likes that. I can't do that. Okay. I Killed Earl says Rachel acts like men lack any self control, and that peach is posted everywhere online. Oh, that ass is posted everywhere online. It's not. They're adults. Why are you emasculating and patronizing men? Why don't you respect a man's decisions?
Look, I'm gonna hold men accountable too. Like the fact that married men are the primary users of and viewers of pornography is a horrible thing. It's you are accountable for that as a man. Yes, you are. You shouldn't do that. Women shouldn't do it. Men shouldn't do it. Nobody should do it. People shouldn't be producing it. People shouldn't be consuming it. It's a bad idea. I'm not saying men don't have agency. Of course they have agency, but no, I don't respect people's decisions to do things that I think are immoral. And I think that the world is better off when we do have moral standards and societal standards for sexual behavior. Obviously, this whole sexual revolution stuff hasn't gone so well. Our birth rate is in the toilet. Nobody gets married. Kids are being raised without their dads and in weird configurations, not in regular families anymore. We have a whole sector of the economy that's just sex work, more female sex workers and male sex workers than we've ever had before. World sky high STD rates, higher than they even were back in the day, even if you account for testing, according to the CDC and the World Health Organization. So I just want to know, somebody make a good case for why this is good for society at large. Y'all can get mad at me and say, hey, Rachel, we want a coom and we don't like it when you rain on our coom parade. It makes us sad. It's like, okay, but does anyone have an argument? Is anyone ever going to present me with an argument for how this has made life better, how it's made the world better, how it's more conducive to a prosperous society? I haven't heard one yet.
Well, that's because we fundamentally disagree on the value of bodily autonomy. I think
Yeah,
that's
so
the
you
issue.
think that that's worth it. So you think that the outcomes of children being raised in fatherless, broken homes, the total destruction of the nuclear family, the institution of marriage is completely in the garbage, sky high STD rates. We're talking just from 2020 to 2021, there was a 32% increase in syphilis in the United States. That's insane. We almost had it eradicated at a certain point. It's come roaring back. All the STDs are back all around the world, even HIV in places like Russia, which has some of the most sex work in the world. So like this isn't the outcomes are not
Yeah,
good.
sure. This would
They're
be like,
very,
I mean,
very overwhelmingly
promiscuity
bad.
in general is on the rise, obviously. Sex workers more
Yeah.
than anyone are getting tested and having safe sex, though.
But that's the thing, is that even within the sex work industry, even with all the testing, sex workers still contract more STIs than the average person. But the average person's getting, so basically we've just flooded
Like within
society
the
with this.
industry, I don't think
Yeah.
that's true.
Yes, there's a higher incidence of STIs among sex workers than the general population. Yeah. So I'm just saying, I don't see how all this sexual liberation has brought all this peace and prosperity to everybody if we're not making kids, we're not having families, we're all catching STIs, we're all just sitting at home gooning to porn all day. Like, I fail to see how this is good for society, how it's bringing happiness and prosperity. I don't see it.
Well, that's because you
Interesting.
don't see like coming as bringing happiness and prosperity, huh?
So it's fine as long as you get to have an or. Do you people not understand you can get married and have a fabulous sex life? You can be married to your spouse and have a great sex life, and you don't have to worry about unwanted pregnancies or STIs or cheating or gooning or none of that stuff. Just have sex with your spouse as God intended. It's really fun and it's actually better. It's actually better than masturbating or being promiscuous or any of that stuff. You are with one person you love and care about, and you learn each other and you have a great time together. You just have to be like, have a good attitude about it, right? I'm all for being sex positive within the confines of a
Well,
marriage.
you're not. Oh, okay. Within marriage, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
This one coming in from, do appreciate it. Right, really though, says Diddley, has your bourgeoisie lifestyle always kept you empowered? Have you spent time around people who aren't Nazi gangsters? You may be upset at the results of your libertine attitude or not, into the ditch with them. You guys, for real, that you
Well,
have
I
to
wouldn't even
use.
say I live a bourgeoisie lifestyle. I live pretty frugally. So,
I Killed Earl says, let's remind everyone that the Grinder app nearly crashed during the Republican National Convention, so y'all can get off your high horse.
really?
We know. Rachel, have you been on this
Oh,
Grinder app?
Once again, not a Republican.
it's gay
I already
Tinder,
said that.
basically.
Huh? And
Grinder?
no, I'm not on Grinder. I'm
A
completely against the gay stuff. I
It's
think
it's for
all the
gay
gay
men,
stuff needs to
James.
stop too.
It's an
Oh,
app, a dating app for gay men.
the gay men are gooning on the
They are
what is it?
the
Grinder?
Republican gooners.
By the way, I don't know if that's true. I think that
I would bet on it being true.
Let's
I
see.
wouldn't bet on it being, but Republicans do have there's a lot of homosexuals in the Republican Party. It's one of my critiques of them. So
Bobby C says, for Diddley, if Rachel could demonstrate that her worldview is correct and that yours is destructive, would you change your mind and lifestyle, Diddley?
If a omnipresent being such as God appeared before me, sure, but that is never going to happen. So
Care says, Diddley, your crystal isn't ready. It's currently being treated for its STIs and cope. You go,
I've never
girl.
had an STI or an STD, and you've probably never been tested in your entire life, whereas I have.
Wow. Mercy says, unrelated. I just want to say Rachel and Diddley are both genuinely beautiful. I promise. This is that creep
My
that was
white
asking me
lie.
to call
I
him
love how
names.
James paused to roll his eyes. That was a W, James. You're just like,
You're beautiful too, James. Just in case no one said it
That's
so far.
why I was so salty. They
Mhm.
didn't say it to me. They says, I promise I'm not gooning. Okay, that's weird. Mercy. That's the word in Australia?
It's
Mercy
okay
says,
to goon.
Rachel, they say Rachel saying ASMR is only for creeps is incredibly disrespectful to those who do it. This person
too
sounds like
bad. Too bad. You're weirdos. You're weirdos. If you get little tinglies up your spine from listening to girls go into the microphone,
I do. I
yuck,
get
yucky,
tingles.
yucky, yucky. You're the same.
I love
You
it.
probably rub styrofoam together too in your spare time, you
No,
freaks.
I don't like that
Ugh,
one.
this one from
no.
Part 344 says, seems that Christians are salty that people have stopped subbing to an imaginary heaven. And then in parentheses, they say tithing. They seem to think that like all Christians benefit from a tithe. I don't know. They say I'd rather sub to something that's probably real. Okay, so apart from the fact that they think Christians all receive a tithe or something, they they don't say
So
what it is that they.
they think that I'm mad because I think that people who would otherwise be attending church and tithing are now subbing to OnlyFans girls.
Maybe that's it.
If that were the case, yes, that's sad, obviously.
You have to be subbing to Jesus Christ instead. It's like 20% of your income, right,
Well,
for tithes?
I mean, if you want eternal life and you want to battle your passions and attain the virtues and have meaning, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot better for you than just jerking it all day. Yeah. I know it's an unpopular opinion
Yeah,
now,
Diddley.
but that's my opinion. So
5. That's pretty interesting. This one coming in from, do appreciate it. This is one of our last ones. Was that the last one? They say, yeah, we got that. That was from Spart. I think we've run out. We've got a lot. Let me just really quick skim over and say, oh, Chris Van Dusen says, Rachel says she does not understand OnlyFans. To be fair, she does not have to understand it. It's not, does everyone. I think they mean
It's
not
not
everyone
for
does.
everyone.
Sure. I don't understand. People, you pay money to submit it, and then it doesn't even grammatically. They must be just rolling in dough. They don't. They're just like, yeah. They say, Rachel, it doesn't matter if you don't understand OnlyFans. It's not for everyone.
it's not that I don't understand it. I understand it just fine. It's that I do think it is morally wrong and that it's generally not good for people. I understand that we live in this enlightenment liberal society where everyone's just they can't even tell you why it's correct. They've just always heard it repeated. I should be able to do what I want. I should be able to do what I want. Hey, bro, don't piss in my cornflakes. Don't rain on my parade. I'm going to do what I want. It's like, okay, but can you actually justify how that's worked out for everybody, right? Can you actually, the whole point of us debating here is she's going to present her worldview and tell you why she thinks it's correct, and I'm going to present my worldview and tell you why I think it's correct. And simply saying different strokes for different folks, bro, really
Well,
doesn't
we
add
as a
anything to the
society kind of
conversation.
have determined that that is okay. That's why we live in an individualistic capitalist society. That's why you don't want to move out of America, right? Because this is something that you guys value.
No, I don't. That has nothing to do with it. The reason I still live in the United States is because I have family here and because
So
of
you would move
other
away if that
reasons.
wasn't an issue?
We've thought about it and we may, but it's really not about that, right? It's about like, what are your values? What do you think the point of life is? What do you think is, how do you
I know,
know
and I'm
what
saying, like, as a country, like America and Australia, we've all determined that what we value is individualism, capitalism. These are the things that
I think some people have, and this is
we
one of my
value as a
fundamental,
society.
not to get off on a tangent, but this is one of my fundamental problems with Americanism itself is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights starts off with we the people. And I don't think we the people exist. I don't think we are a hive mind. I don't think there is agreement just randomly among a general population. I think morality has to be tied back to your worldview and your some type of religious value. Even if you're not a religious person, then that's where your values come from. So this like civic nationalism, we the people stuff, it has not provided a glue that has held society together. It has not given us a direction as a country or a moral direction of how we know what is right and what is wrong, how we know what is good and what is bad. Simply saying, you do you, bro, hasn't worked out very well, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm thinking in a bigger picture worldview, not just like, well, you can't tell me what to do. You're not my dad. Like, that's very kindergarten level thinking, and it
Hmm.
doesn't add anything to the conversation. It doesn't
It's
tell you
interesting.
what you ought to do.
I'm learning more and more that like a lot of American creators, like political creators, actually don't like America that much by the sounds of it and the values that they stand for.
Well, it's an experiment, right? We're a youngish country. We've been around for a few hundred years. I don't think everything about America is bad. I think there are good things that have come out of the experiment. But I think where we went wrong was thinking that we can tie morality and moral prescriptions to something so arbitrary as just like, oh, individual liberty, right? It hasn't worked when you look at it historically. I feel like it's been a mistake. I feel like the fabric of society has just come unglued. We don't really have a direction. We don't really have an identity, and it's a problem. And that's what a lot of American politics is revolving around. That's what the conversation is now. Because we're like, if anybody just sets foot here and gets a piece of paper and they're now American, what does that mean? What does it then mean to be American? If anyone and everyone can be American just by having a piece of paper and stepping on the magic dirt, what does that mean for us? Where do we get our identity? Where do we get our values and our morals? How do we know what we ought do and what we ought not do? Where does that come from? What's it grounded in? And that's what the debate's really about.
Must go on to the next question. I hate to do this, but we had just a few more pop in really quick before we let you go. Going on 3 hours here, folks, so we're gonna let our guests go pretty quickly. But I did have Hello Outsider says
My
tithes
voice is
are
starting to go. Sorry.
said tithes are not biblical. They were meant for the Levites in the temple because they didn't get a land inheritance. Bobby C says for Rachel, I understand you are a full-time wife and mom, but when are you coming out with your next book? Andrew needs more gun money.
As soon as I can. I had to take the second half of last year off because my dad and grandma both got very like terminally ill and needed full-time care. And hopefully I will have more time this year to finish it. It's like 85% done. I just have to actually get the time to finish the second book. And then Andrew will have more gun money.
Teriak says, question for Diddler. Our pal Diddler says, if OnlyFans is empowering, would you want your dad and boyfriend booming to your friends' OnlyFans? They said
To my friends. Why would I
orgasms are
care who my
valuable.
fucking dad jacks off to?
That is pretty weird.
Again, the incest fantasies. They never stop.
It is, yeah. I didn't realize how weird that question was until after I read it. Okay, this one coming
Hmm.
in from really though says Diddley, are you pushing the Australian interpretation of American values of capitalism and individuality to its extreme in a subversive way so that people think American values are evil?
No, I was saying the opposite. I think you guys have like a good system, obviously. Like we're very similar in the way I think we like to run our countries in terms of like we value individualism, capitalism, autonomy. So I think these are the things that the American people value. Not so much Rachel, but most of the American people, I would think.
Well, it didn't really start out that way. So, like, historically, I mean, like I was saying, less than 100 years ago, porn was illegal here. We had Comstock laws. You could be put in jail, and we did jail women for like writing erotica or sending like birth control in the mail, things like that. We weren't always this liberal, but the problem with the founding, and I'm not hating on my American friends and people, I love American people. It's not that I hate America, but the founding is problematic in that the Constitution is a liberal Enlightenment progressive document. And so, us getting to this point, I think, was always inevitable. I know some people are going to get mad and they'll disagree and they'll be angry in the comments, but especially from doing all this historical research I've done over the last several years and looking at the philosophies and the writings of the people involved, that's what I think. And that's where I think
Do
we
you
kind
think
of
they
went
should
wrong.
just scrap the Constitution?
No, I think that what we can learn from the last 200 years is that there are limits, that personal liberty can be a good thing when it's got limits on it that make sense, and that we can take a look at where we get our foundational values from and create something out of that. We're going to have to, because the way that America is now is not going to last. It's not lasting already. We're already so divided and so torn apart. Nobody can really tell you what it means to be American anymore, or like what the foundation is. Whatever it was is not what it is anymore. And so we're going to have to rediscover that. We're going to have to figure it out. I don't know that we'll survive as one intact nation. Who knows? It'll be fun to see what the next 100 years brings. But I do think that that Enlightenment progressive underpinning to the Constitution has caused us to have this kind of a problem. So,
This one coming in from just two last ones. Lily Bell coming in salty said, "Men died so that she can flick her bean online." Jeez. Also, you
And
have
I'm very grateful for the men who laid their lives down so I could lay my hand on my bean.
they say also you have
gross.
full quote no clothes unquote pics online. Don't lie.
Don't lie about what? I never
I,
said. Well, I said I don't do full nudity, so I don't show like my vagina or my butthole.
okay. Cool.
Just to lay down the law.
Thanks for the clarification. No buttholes. Teriak says, "Don't dodge, diddler. Would you want your boyfriend?" So they're saying not incestuous. They say, "Would you want your boyfriend grooming to your friends on
Okay,
OnlyFans
well, that
if
wasn't dodging. You brought up my fucking dad, for one. No, I wouldn't care. I don't care who my boyfriend jacks off to.
Do you guys have
gotcha?"
like an open relationship or a committed
I
relationship?
mean, people would probably call that an open relation. They would probably look at our relationship and call it open. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting. We're gonna let our guests. I gotta tell you, folks, I have so much respect for our guests, both because they're well spoken, like they're great debaters. They're also tough. I have to be, like I said, you guys take so much shit. Like a lot of people are saying things about your beans and
Well,
your
I've been on the internet for a
videos.
while, James. We have to be tough.
That's
So
true. It's not for the weak. I
I'm
will agree to that.
impressed. Good for you on not getting you just don't let it get to you. Good for you. So folks, I do want to encourage you check out their guests, our guest link in the description box. If you would like to meet Rachel, Mrs. Wilson, and Andrew, who you can see at the bottom right of your screen, DebateCon 5 is happening in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah, folks, Newark, New Jersey. If you're anywhere near Newark, New Jersey, come to DebateCon 5. You will see Andrew debating with atheist Craig on secular humanism versus Christian ethics. That's at the bottom right of your screen. As you can see, we're potentially getting a debate for Rachel. It's a possibility, but hey, even You get to meet Andrew and Rachel. They'll be there. So in either case, you'll get to meet friends. It's going to be tremendous. Diddley, maybe someday you'll be the first Australian guest. We haven't had an Australian guest yet. Who knows?
Maybe.
Now, this one, you don't seem very enthusiastic, Diddley. Okay, so this one from Right Flight says,
You could do a whole video like Diddley Does America, you know?
Yeah, that'll be
Make
fun.
content out of it. Just kidding.
now
Don't
Right
do
Flight
that.
says,
Don't do that.
save your money. I just uploaded Diddley's content to Simp City. Is Simp City a real website,
I don't know. I've never had. I've never heard of it.
Rachel? Oh,
Probably.
yeah. Come on. I
The
know you know
first
what
rule
it
of the
is.
internet, right?
What's that? That it's
That
real?
if you can think of it, there's a website for it, basically.
Oh, wow. But I gotta tell you,
134.
And that someone's made porn of it, probably.
that's gross.
It
Let's
is
see.
gross. I agree.
I mean,
Ew,
no
gross.
offense. The point is this. Check out both Diddley's and Rachel's links in the description box. Come out to DebateCon in Newark, New Jersey in just 2 weeks. So that's February 15th. Folks, you don't want to miss out on this. It's going to be an epic 2-day conference. Andrew's debating on both days. Possibility Rachel debates on the it would probably be the second day if it does happen. And I've got to tell you though, folks, if you are from far away, maybe even as far as you're in Gooner, Australia, and you're like, I want to be able to see the debates. I got to tell you, one, you can watch them live. They'll all be live and free for the public on Modern Day Debate if you're watching from Goonstralia. You can also check out the crowdfund. So we have in the description box below, if you're like, oh man, it'd be epic to have a signed photo of Andrew, etc. That's basically our crowdfund where it'll help pay for the costs like Andrew's flights, Rachel's. Rachel, we should cover yours. Let's talk about that. But if you point is this, check out the crowdfund linked in the description box. It can help support the event from afar. You can get cool perks like a signed photo of Andrew or the signed emblem page signed by all the debaters, all sorts of cool perks. Check them out at the Indiegogo crowdfund if you're too far away. Thank you very much, Diddley and Rachel. It's been a great debate.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Diddley, for being a great sport. Thank you, James, for hosting.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you. It's been this is like one of the most fun debates I've gotten to host. I just I've learned so much. I will be back, folks, in just a moment, letting you know about upcoming debates, so stick around. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and Apostate Prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Newark, New Jersey is where modern... Wow. You guys, I am very excited. As I mentioned, there is a crowdfund in the description box. You can see the perks on the page right now. I'm going to pull up a little picture of my happy little face here so you can see my face at the same time as I walk you through these perks in case you're unfamiliar. Like, I don't know what Indiegogo is or a crowdfund. A crowdfund is basically just like GoFundMe, except we offer perks. So it basically is like, hey, if you give at this level, we will send you this cool perk. Or if you give at this level, we'll send you this cool perk. So there are all sorts of neat little perks that you can get. And we highly encourage you to check those out at the link in the Indiegogo below. So for example, if you throw in $5, you're like, hey, I appreciate Modern Day Debate. I like watching this. Someone in chat says, hey, this is Andrew Wilson's wife. Yeah. I didn't know. How'd you not know? Let's see. Iron Horse, look at this guy. He says, here comes the grift. Modern Day Debate grifting. Yes. It's a grift to help us to try to cover our costs for the conference, especially because tomorrow there's going to be news that's dropping that may mean the conference will like crash and burn financially. stay in tune to our Twitter for that, because you will see going to be a crazy little announcement on Modern Day Debate's Twitter tomorrow. So in the meantime, good to see you, Iron Horse. Thanks for your hate in the old live chat. But I got to tell you, folks, we are excited about it. You can throw in $5. You're like, hey, not even worried about a perk. I just appreciate Modern Day Debate. It does mean more than you know. As well as, you're like, hey, I will throw in $10. Hey, Wind, thank you so much for your support. Just gifted 5 Modern Day Debate channel memberships in the old live chat. Bill Hicks, Jay, Mo, even Lord, even Iron Horse, who was talking smack. Hey, welcome to being a member, Iron Horse, after talking smack about the channel. Billy Bongs a lot. Good to see you, Billy. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to the membership. Thanks, Swampy Pube says, great debate, James. Thanks for being a subscriber, by the way, folks. If I see you in the live chat, I know that you're a subscriber, which I do appreciate, because we've got subscribers only chat mode on right now. So I want to say thank you, Radical Coder. Thank you so much. Says $50 and I don't get James's butthole. No thanks. So yeah, you got to pay 100 for that. Chris Barloni, thanks for being with us. Thanks for being a subscriber. Thanks, Chief Wahoo. Thanks for being a subscriber. And for real though, Diddley and Rachel, I wasn't just saying that when they were here. I appreciate them so much for coming on and debating, because one, that was an interesting debate. That was a popular debate. That was huge. People were really enjoying that. But also, they're very well spoken. Like I said, they're great sports. I would go so far as to say I owe them. So we do appreciate them for being friends of the channel. But I do want to show you, you're like, hey, James, what about these perks for the Indiegogo crowdfund? Well, I'll continue. You can also get an embossed thank you card that is sent to you from me, and it's anywhere in the world. So we do, for the crowdfund, Modern Day Debate now offers this global shipping. But not only that, you may be thinking, James, what else is there in your little bag of tricks here? Well, I'll show you, because you might be thinking, are there any other things I should know? Well, I'll show you right now. The event is stacked. I have to update that poster because one of the gentlemen is not going to make it, due to a recently veiled threat against one of the other speakers. You obviously can't have any physical threats on Modern Day Debate. That's a rule that even YouTube has. Even we draw the line somewhere. So yeah, do want to let you know. Despite Central Dawa not being there, and then one other person that will not be there, and we'll be announcing that tomorrow. That's why you got to keep an eye on our Twitter. It's going to be a big storm. But yes, you are seeing these speakers. I can tell you these people will for sure be here as an example. Dr. Lawrence Krauss and Mike Jones, that debate will for sure still be happening. The top debate on the other poster, Not So Erudite and Sean Fitzgerald, debating on Trump versus Biden's policies, that will still be happening. But check out these posters. I mean, you can tell by these posters, obviously, like this is pretty based of a conference. Like this looks pretty cool. Am I right? You are seeing there, Witsit Gitsit and Brianna Wu will be debating. And then you can see Alex Stein, conservative, against Andrew Wilson. That is going to be an interesting debate. You don't want to miss that. But yes, it is going to be an epic conference. So if you're anywhere near Newark, New Jersey, you got to come, because it's just going to blow your mind. So we are excited about that. But you're maybe thinking, James, where is this? Well, I'll show you. Holiday Inn Newark International Airport. So this is a 45-minute drive from New York City. If you guys are in New York City, come on, what are you waiting for? It is going to be epic. It's only a 45-minute drive. What are you doing? You guys don't waste your life. If you're anywhere nearby, come out to the conference. You only live once. You're going to have a great time. We always keep these priced affordably because we know we're like, hey, let's keep it reasonable. We're not trying to stiff people. Financially, these usually break even. This one, I'm nervous, given the news that's going to drop tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to break even or if we're going to do worse than that. But nonetheless, stay in tuned, as this conference is going to be a huge hit. We do still think we will book it. S says, will you guys have security? Yes, we're going to have plenty of armed security, and that's not exaggerating. So we are excited about this conference, but I want to show you because you're like, okay, tell me more, James. Hit me with some knowledge. Well, I'm happy to. So if you click on the link in the description box, it's called Event Create. That's the ticket hosting website that we are using. And what you do is you just scroll down to the bottom of the page where you will see like, oh, okay, so Event Create. I click register now, and that's where you can get your tickets. And you might be thinking like, okay, cool. Like I'll go on to Event Create and I'll check out your link there in the description box, James. And I'll tell you, you can find the tickets. Then you just sign up for them. Pretty straightforward. I think you guys know how that works. And if you get a VIP ticket for the political debates day, because the VIP ticket for the religion debates day has sold out, but the VIP ticket for the politics day, which Andrew is a part of, you can get a signed emblem page signed by all of the debaters from that day. Of course, it'll say DebateCon 5. This is an old one that I'm showing you, but it just gives you an idea of what you'd expect. So it would have like the signatures, the autographs of Alex Stein, Sean Fitzgerald, Andrew Wilson. Pretty cool thing to take home. Now, like I said, if you are in the Brooklyn area, let's say, it's only a 45-minute drive. Come on, guys. But maybe, like I said, you're maybe far away, in which case, check out the Indiegogo link in the description box. That's where you can find cool perks. Now, this is when we first launched it. We had $75. However, as you could see on the thermometer on screen, we are actually up to, on the far right of the screen, you can see it there. Thanks for subscribing, Lion Man. But we're up to about 60% of the way of our goal. Actually, I think we're actually up by, now we're up to like 65%. Someone gave a donation during this stream. But yes, we're excited for that. But you're maybe thinking like, okay, James, I'll check out your little Indiegogo website. But I got to tell you, just want to say thank you for real. We're excited about the future. As you can see behind me, featuring Andrew Wilson, he'll be there for a number of debates, probably 3 now, because I just talked to him today on the phone about a 3rd debate. So got to tell you, folks, it's going to be huge. It's going to be epic. We're excited about the future. Modern Day Debate is just beginning our story. Join us while we are small, because someday we'll look back and we'll say, wow, remember when Modern Day Debate was only 206,000 subscribers? And we'll say, yeah, I do remember that. And we'll be like, yeah, that's like, wow, it was small back then. So join us while we are small. This is just the beginning of our story. We are excited about the future of Modern Day Debate, as we believe YouTube deserves a better class of debate channel, a fully fair one, and we're going to give it to them. So do hit that subscribe button if you have not, as Modern Day Debate is a barreling locomotive cruising down the tracks, and no matter how many hurdles are in our way, we just keep busting through them, as Modern Day Debate is going to continue to grow and make itself the premier debate platform for all of YouTube, all of the internet. Thank you guys for your support. We love you, and we will see you at the next debate. Amazing. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like, oh yeah, I forgot. If you would hit that like button, Garuda Legends, I see you there in the live chat. Thanks for your support. I appreciate that. They said hit the like button. We're at 497 likes. So that is like only 3 more likes to get to 500. So it would mean more than you know. Please do hit like. Final request of support. Thanks for your support. Nick Mercer, thanks for being a subscriber and a channel member. Says, love your work, James and team. Thanks so much. That means more than you know. And in addition, you're maybe like, James, cool, I hit the like button. Another thing that we actually really do appreciate is if you are willing to, if you know of anybody who loves topics like this, please do share this debate. So click that little share button below and share it with a friend. If you know of a group, maybe a group online, you've got like a Twitter thread and you talk about topics like these with your friends, or you've got like a group chat or a text group where you share and talk about things, please do share, because it means more than you know. We are very excited to have your support and just that grassroots help in terms of getting the word out. So we will see you at the next debate. Thank you guys for all of your support. We crushed it. We went from 497 to 543 likes. So thank you guys. Today was a fun time. I will look forward to seeing you at the next debate. Keep sifting out the reasonable from the unreasonable. And like I said, we'll see you in Newark, New Jersey in 2 weeks. You do not want to miss this big event, DebateCon 5. Thanks, everybody. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and apostate prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and apostate prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and apostate prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and apostate prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and apostate prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and apostate prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DebateCon 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against inspiring philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and apostate prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment that's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Newark, New Jersey is where Modern Day Debate's next debate conference, DEBATECON 5, is happening, including debates like Dr. Lawrence Krauss against Inspiring Philosophy Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th, and Andrew Wilson against Atheist